I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it!
On 93.5
Watch it!
and 107.5.
Boom, baby!
The Fan.
7 o'clock on a Thursday. It's been a fast week, has it not, Kevin Bowen?
It has, certainly. Yeah, I do think it has been a fast week. Last night, actually, was floating in the bath with my daughter. All the salt that was still in my body from the Vegemite, I could just kind of float atop. So I appreciate
It's
you.
like the Dead Sea in the bathtub,
yeah,
right?
that's exactly what it was there. So she laughed, so I guess that's all that matters.
Mark, how about you? The Vegemite yesterday. For those that were not listening yesterday,
Boy, did you miss out.
listen, I'm like Uncle Jake here, right? Like, my job is to culture you guys, kind of, pass along my wisdom of the years, like the worldly experiences of trying Vegemite, the Australian delicacy. Mark Dykton, your thoughts?
I mean, my wife was like,
Australian delicacy.
what am I hearing about this Vegemite stuff? So I played it for her, and she's like, was this as bad as it sounded? I was like, it was not good. I had that taste in my mouth. It felt like I had like I took Elmer's glue and just like rolled it on my tongue. It was on my palate the rest of the day.
It is odd. I mean, last night I watched, and by the way, good morning to you. Jake Query here along with, that was the voice of Mark Dykton, Kevin Bowen here as well. It's Kevin and Query on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan. A lot to talk about this morning, including a big performance in Sacramento for a familiar name. We'll get to that. We'll talk some college basketball as well, and some Colts conversation coming up in about 30 minutes. I'll tell you one of the best shows on TV that's been around forever. It's kind of become passé because everybody now, understandably so, watches shows on Netflix and Ted Lasso and Ozark and all the different shows. But one of, to me, like just a staple that I still just find a joy to watch is The Amazing Race. Have you ever watched The Amazing Race?
I have, yeah.
Because the thing I like about it is, first off, there are so many parts of the world that you're like, man, that is beautiful.
Yeah, for like a geographical, I don't know, buff might not be the right term, but
yeah, I mean,
you like that part of it.
Correct. And then, the teams, as they travel around the world, they have to do tasks that are like suitable for that particular city or, part of the custom of where they are. And last night they were in France. Well, it wasn't last night, but last night's episode. They were in France, and one of the challenges they had to do was to eat like a cheese spread that had maggots in it.
Oh, gosh.
And I thought, well, that should be the next thing I bring in for you guys.
Well, we did that on 40 Monument Circle yesterday, and I didn't see any Amazing Race cameras in here.
I mean, I guess we're turning into like Weird Stuff Wednesday or something. Yeah. I think that's the thing.
That's a good. I like that. Here we go. Weird Stuff Wednesday.
Yeah,
I like that. Right?
Gosh. Boy.
I mean, you got to eat something at some point, my friend. Kevin and I have done the shrimp cocktail contest.
Well, the shrimp cocktail's fantastic.
Oh, that I wasn't saying it was weird.
We were signing our life away, and you were sitting at home, basking in glory, and still getting a gift card out of the whole experience.
Right. I did. I was basking in COVID glory. Thank you.
Gosh. Oh, boy.
Completely congested.
And then Vegemite now, so we needed to, find some stuff that Jake can try.
Yeah, exactly.
On air.
Let me tell you one thing that I've been through. I think you have as well, Kevin. That I personally, probably like your guys' Vegemite experience, I don't necessarily ever need to go through again, but when is Super Bowl Media Day? Is that today? Or did we already have that?
I think we already had it.
I think it's usually the Wednesday before.
Has that become, remember, 15, 20 years ago, it was like, let's see how wacky we can get. And, here's Tom Brady being interviewed by American Idol rejects. And here's a guy dressed like Barney. Has that all kind of become, I guess with COVID, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was all Zoom earlier this week for both the Bengals and Rams. So, yeah, I do think that has died down a bit.
Thank goodness. There's something positive that's come out of the pandemic.
Yeah. We'll get to some of these Super Bowl props a little bit later in the show. We'll have Joe Wiz on tomorrow to give us his picks as well. I don't know. I feel like it has been one of those weeks where, maybe it's a couple time zones away. Maybe our attention's been a little bit more basketball-centric with the Pacers, a couple big trades and college basketball dominating here as well. But I don't know. I haven't heard like as much build-up to Sunday, and I still think the game's going to be great, and I think you got storylines on both sides of it that are really, really interesting. But, I didn't get a whole lot out of Super Bowl Media Day outside of, Joe Burrow telling kids growing up to not post their workouts on Instagram or something like that.
I think two things about the Super Bowl here. Number one, and I realize the NFL is the 8,000-pound gorilla in this country. I mean, no question about it. The 2 weeks in between the game to set up the game, it gets a little long to me. I mean, there's only so much analysis you can do, right? But the other question, and I say this half flippantly and half seriously, but are different owners calling up Jim Irsay to give him some of their ticket allotment to give away? Because he's been, and it's cool, don't get me wrong, but he's been doing Super Bowl ticket giveaways daily now for he's probably given away 40 tickets to the Super Bowl. Yeah. How many does an owner get? I mean, maybe they each get 100. I have no idea.
Yeah,
right?
That would be my guess. I don't know that for sure, but I assume, the 32 teams get allotted. I should say the 30 teams get allotted some sort of tickets. I saw yesterday he gave away tickets to someone in the Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Really cool. Obviously, what Jim is doing there. Tonight, Jake, we could see Reggie Wayne be inducted into the class of 2022, or I should say announced as he will be inducted in the class of 2022 for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's the NFL Honor Show tonight, so you'll get the awards from the end of the season. We'll see if Jonathan Taylor takes home Offensive Player of the Year, and we'll see if Reggie Wayne goes in. To me, I think he deserves it. Regular season and playoff resume is extremely strong. He's been a finalist for 3 years. The other wideouts he's kind of up against in this class, Andre Johnson, Torrey Holt. The Andre Johnson argument, Jake, is probably look at the quarterbacks he played with. But it's kind of like, is that a punishment for Reggie Wayne? I mean, Reggie Wayne had more team success. Reggie Wayne had more postseason success.
Here are the modern era finalists, for today, right?
It's not a great list, or it's not as eye-popping of a list as
they
you would
will
think.
take how many out of this? Is it 5?
Yeah, 5 out of these 15.
Okay, I'm going to name a player, and you tell me if definitively you believe they would get in before Reggie Wayne. You ready?
Yeah.
Jared Allen.
No.
Willie Anderson.
No.
Rondé Barber.
No, Rondé Barber's a finalist? No.
Tony Baselli.
I know he's been up for a while, but no.
Leroy Butler.
Same thing. No.
Devin Hester.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, there's one. Torrey Holt.
No.
Andre Johnson.
No.
Sam Mills.
Another guy that's been up for a ton. No.
Richard Seymour.
Nope.
Zach Thomas.
No.
DeMarcus Ware.
Yes.
Patrick Willis.
No, I feel like he retired too early.
Bryant Young.
No.
Yeah, I would put Young in.
Really?
I would put Sam Mills in.
God, Mills has been on that list for years. I think if Mills doesn't get in this year, he becomes a senior finalist.
I would put Johnson in.
Over Reggie Wayne?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what did Andre Johnson ever do in the playoffs?
I don't think that's at the fault of Andre Johnson.
I think you got to have some postseason resume on there.
Johnson,
is it Andre Johnson's first time on the ballot? Because to me, first ballot means something as well. The fact that Marvin Harrison had to wait 3 years to go in the Hall of Fame is an absolute joke.
I get that. Andre Johnson, and listen, I'm not even saying against Reggie Wayne. I'm just saying these are guys that I think should be in. I think Andre Johnson should be in. If you look at his, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 1,000-yard seasons receiving. He had 2 of them over 1,500 yards.
But is it one of those, somebody's got to do that on those types of teams, like your Karis LeVert, 20 and 20 type of thing?
Yes, except for that he was, for the better part of those, Kevin, he was literally the only weapon, right? And who's throwing him the ball?
Right, but should Reggie be punished for that? Because in that room,
here's the thing.
They compare these wideouts. Marvin didn't get in. Andre Reed got in over Marvin Harrison. I'm just saying, when I say Andre Johnson should be in, I'm saying this completely exclusively from Reggie Wayne. I'm just saying how many others, I think Reggie Wayne's an unbelievable player and talent, and I think Reggie Wayne greatly bolstered his statement, not even by postseason success, but by the fact that he literally dipped into the well and extended his career with a quarterback change.
I mean, I know that Andrew Luck was an elite talent, but to go from one quarterback system that you played for a long time and then maintain and almost even elevate your game once a Hall of Fame receiver is no longer aside from you and a new quarterback is thrown to you, to me, that cemented Reggie Wayne. I'm not saying Reggie Wayne shouldn't be in. I'm just simply saying when evaluating or assessing whether or not he gets in this year's class, there are others that I think you could make an argument for and say that I could see them getting in above Reggie Wayne.
Yeah. And again, I want to stress, Jake, I'm not overly optimistic Reggie will get in necessarily.
I have heard, and I have no idea how people would know this. I have heard that people that are like in that room, so to speak, are doubtful that he will get in.
I think the Andre Johnson quarterback debate that you bring up, and typically they only take one position unless it's obvious there's multiple guys from that position in a class. The stat that Mike Chappell's always thrown around is I think Jerry Rice and Reggie Wayne are the only two wideouts in NFL history to be top 10 in regular season numbers and postseason numbers. Right. To me, that's pretty rare company.
Reggie has 8 seasons over 1,000 yards receiving. And 779 in his final season. That's solid. I mean, you know what I mean?
No, certainly Andre Johnson did not get that in his final season.
Yeah, Andre Johnson, Andre Johnson didn't just like slip, he fell off a cliff completely, right?
So again, that'll be at 9 o'clock tonight. NFL Honors Hall of Fame class as well. Also at 9 o'clock tonight, Purdue back in action. Jake, this is a little bit of an NCAA tournament feel for them. You play one night off, and then you play again.
Yeah, you're right.
Twice in 48 hours. Tonight, I think it's a great opportunity for them. First off, you're going to play a very desperate team that needs a win for their resume in Michigan. And for Purdue, it's how much can you rely on your depth? That is something that is a huge advantage for them. If you look at what Michigan had to fly home the other night. They also played on Tuesday. They played at Penn State. Purdue, if you look at their guys and minutes played and Michigan's guys and minutes played the other night, I think Michigan had like 4 guys over 30 minutes. So I think an opportunity here on the road. You're playing a team twice in a week. There are challenges there. Michigan, like you've talked about, far more talented than I think most teams with their record in the Big Ten. But still an opportunity here for Purdue, I think, to rely on their depth. And it sounds kind of elementary, but wins are vital right now, even on the road with how the Big Ten standings.
Michigan's in the same boat, right? Didn't they just play as well? I mean, this was a make good.
Penn State,
right,
on Tuesday. Yeah, it was their COVID issues that have caused this schedule change.
Did you do anything fun last night?
Watch the Irish get their 10th ACC win atop the ACC. Notre Dame basketball.
See, I would think that. Are they really atop the ACC?
Top the ACC. Duke is 9-3.
Then they've got to be
Notre Dame 10-3.
Notre Dame's got to be knocking on the door then, right? Like,
Jake, their non-conference schedule was about as bad as IUP was.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if you win the ACC regular season, there's no way that you're not in, right?
Right. I think Lenardi had them as like a 10 seed going into last night. I mean, last night they played Louisville, and I'm like, no wonder Chris Mack got fired. He cheated and didn't recruit anybody good. When you cheat and get bad players, that's a recipe to be fired or whatever.
The thing to me that is bewildering about Louisville, and we talked about this, Kevin, but a couple of years ago, and by the way, was there any bigger sham? Is sham a word?
Yeah.
Was there any bigger sham, if that is a word, than the whole FBI investigation of phone calls and allegations of improprieties in NCAA basketball recruiting? And it was like, oh man, I mean, I realize it cost Sean Miller his job, and Louisville, but they're going to get the death penalty. Louisville and Kentucky's up next, and they've got this Nike and Adidas and funneling money, and this is hell. All it probably did was lead to the name, image, likeness stuff, right? But it was thought that literally Arizona and Louisville were the two programs that are like, well, put them in the vault for 10 years. We'll never hear from them again. Hell, Arizona's in the top 5.
Oh, yeah. But Louisville's terrible.
Louisville, on the other hand, though, and for Louisville, I think it was less about that investigation and the phone calls and wiretapping and more about bringing in like hookers to the dorms, right?
Yeah, there was something weird with Dino Gaudio, their assistant coach under Chris Mack. I forget the exact details on that, but yeah, watch Notre Dame, and I think they are on the right side of the bubble, Jake, but
they are now listed as one of the last 4 buys. That's good. No, that's beyond playing
in Dayton.
The play-in games, right? The play-in games, he's got his BYU. And I will say this, and I know people can say, like, why are you reading fake brackets? Because usually these are dead on.
Yeah, I mean, you get 66 of the 68 teams or something like that, right?
Last four in right now, BYU, North Carolina, Florida, and San Diego State. Those are the last four in. The last four buys, meaning the last four teams in that do not have to play the play-in games. Oregon, Notre Dame, Miami, and Oklahoma.
So Notre Dame beat Miami on the road earlier this year. They just don't have a lot. They did beat Kentucky, and that is clearly their best win. You mentioned Oklahoma. We're going to have Scott Agnes on at 8:30 to talk more about the NBA trade deadline coming up at 3 o'clock. The pride of Oklahoma, or one of the, Buddy Hield. It sounds like Buddy Hield's going to remain a Pacer. That was kind of the popular report yesterday. Where do you see him kind of fitting into this current puzzle? Volume shooter, for those that don't know.
Buddy Hield is, again, if he is your fourth offensive option, you're pretty good. Third or fourth. I see him, ideally, by the time it's all said and done, I know that he is a guy that clearly can be a starter and may well get some starting reps here, but I see him as basically what Jeremy Lamb was to be before he got hurt. You know, your sixth guy, your microwave off the bench. Justin Holiday kind of did or what Justin Holiday was this year once Jeremy Lamb was hurt, right? Just your guy that comes in as a spot-up three-point guy that if need be, on particular nights when you have to, you say, hey, we're going to need 22 from you tonight. But for the most part, a solid 14 to 18 points, primarily stretching defenses, that's his role, I think.
Yeah, he makes a lot of money, so I think that will scare some fans away, being like, man, is he really worth that much money? It's not like you're in a dire cap situation right now, though. You know, it's not like you need to extend Chris Duarte, Tyrese Halliburton tomorrow or anything like that, so I think you can absorb some of that, but I did find it interesting that it seems like Buddy Hield is not someone that the Pacers are looking to move by 3 o'clock today, just because he is nearing the age of 30. He is a bit one-dimensional. But as much as we look at the Pacers and think that, you know, they are a skilled basketball team in some areas, they don't shoot the basketball very well.
Right.
So, you know, Hield needs a lot to kind of get his 14 or 18, but he should help stretch the floor a little bit, and Halliburton, of course, knows how to play with him. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Again, Scott Agnes is going to join us at 8:30. We'll have Dustin DePierac on, covers IU for the Bloomington Herald-Times and the Indy Star. Get the latest update on that and the suspensions down in Bloomington, again, at Michigan State on Saturday. Next up for the Hoosiers. We come back here on Kevin and Corey. We'll hit a Big O Tires. Well, I guess we're hitting a Big O Tires. No, we do go to a break. Gosh. I feel like my
How long have you been doing this?
I feel like my brain is just fried right now.
It's the Vegemite.
It is just
damn act together.
Lingering in there, Jerry. When we come back here, Kevin and Corey, we'll hit a Big O Tire Sports Center update.
The Ride with JMV.
Race Trash, anything goes, 239-1070. Line 5 is on the air. Welcome to the show. Who's this?
It's Butch.
Butch, how are you?
My wife listens to your show when I have it on YouTube, and she thinks you're an absolutely gorgeous hunk of man and loves your passion.
Butch, everybody. That's how you end.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And if there's one thing I love, it's great parts and great prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
Go unlimited at Crew Car Wash to wash as much as you want.
Sign up online or at any Crew Car Wash location for unlimited washes and unlimited savings.
A huge selection of Valentine's Day gifts await at Cynthia's Hallmark on 116th and Allisonville Road, 116th and Brook School Road, 96th and Lantern Road in Fishers, and in Greenfield.
A while back, we at AmericanEagle.com were asked to build the e-commerce site of a major candy distributor. With the need for a website that could take into account everything from shipping times to local weather, because, you know, candy melts, the task was not like taking candy from a baby. Fortunately, we live for a good digital challenge. And free bonbons. So we got to work on a slew of complex integrations, including a shipping algorithm that factored in variables like distance, speed, and location. The website even let the end customer personalize their candy for special events, like weddings or, you know, major website launches. When all was said and done, our client enjoyed a significant increase in traffic, which we were also well prepared for, and an increase in average order size. A sweet result indeed. For complex e-commerce sites, digital marketing, UX, and more, talk to the experts at AmericanEagle.com. Don't just grow, soar.
Love. It makes us do crazy things, like being the first one to say, I love you, or adopting a cat together when you're more of a dog person. Celebrate the madness of love with a perfect Valentine's gift from Helzberg Diamonds. Right now, half-carat diamond heart pendants in your choice of white, yellow, or rose gold are just $399.99, a savings of $400. Show her you're smitten with the gift of gorgeous jewelry at our best prices of the season. Hurry, Valentine's Day is Monday, February 14th. Shop at Helzberg.com or visit a store near you.
Go for a huge score during the big game with BetMGM. Simply download the BetMGM app and place a $10 moneyline wager on pro football's final game. If either team scores a touchdown, you'll win $200 in free bets, regardless of your wager's outcome. Just use code SB200 when you make your first bet. You'll also earn BetMGM rewards points that you can redeem for room nights and dining at MGM resorts nationwide. And you download the BetMGM app and use that code SB200 to win $200 if either team scores a TD in the big game. Only at BetMGM. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as knowledge-drawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Trading in or selling your car, truck, or SUV? WeBuyAnyCar.com takes the hassle out of selling in just 3 easy steps. 1. Get your free online valuation. 2. Drive to your local car buying center. And 3. Walk out with your check in as little as 30 minutes. So don't wait. Get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at WeBuyAnyCar.
Do you hold a Class B CDL and want to earn competitive pay plus be home every night? Know someone else with a Class B CDL? Irving Materials Inc. is hiring full-time ready-mix concrete drivers at $26 per hour. Great pay, daily overtime, and excellent health benefits. You should apply at IMI's Job Fair this Thursday, February 10th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn Northwest. For more information, all Class B CDLs should go to driveimi.com. That's DRIVEIMI.com. driveimi.com.
Oh, while we're in lawn and garden, I was thinking I should pick up one of those little things for watering my plants.
A hose?
No. The things that look like teapots, but for plants. You tip it over and it goes blah, 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 blah.
You're good at describing words you've forgotten.
Like those things that give the plants a shower, that you fill up.
A watering can?
Yes, a watering can. I knew that.
We're good at your insurance. Find an Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
Finding the perfect romantic gift she'll love is easy at Diamonds Direct this Valentine's. With an expanded selection of designer jewelry and our best offer ever, 5 years, 0 interest financing. Your love is always our passion at Diamonds Direct, but especially on Valentine's Day. So we're holding nothing back. Pick any item, get our best value price, and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest financing. Everything's included. Diamond stud earrings, diamond eternity bands, layered necklaces, pendants, bangles, colored gemstones, and of course, the largest selection of diamonds and engagement rings in America. And this weekend, we're also showcasing all new collections from our top designers like Tacori, Viraggio, Simon G, and others. No matter what you choose for the one you love, you'll get the best price and 5 years, 0 interest financing. We're even open this Sunday with special pregame shopping hours 11 to 4. Get more details and even shop online at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
This Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
NBA news in just a second, but before that, real quick, one final look at right now where things stand in the 68-team bracket of the NCAA tournament. And I only say this because these are always really, really pretty accurate on who gets in, right? Your Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, an 11 seed, Kevin, puts them on the same line as Davidson, Oklahoma, and Miami, if you're curious as to where they kind of who's in their neighborhood, so to speak. Purdue is a number 1 seed for right now. That they've fluctuated from 1 to 2, but back into that one conversation. Purdue, Arizona, Auburn, and Gonzaga would be the 4 number 1 seeds. Again, I'm just saying this as a barometer as to what the perception is of where a team is playing. Indiana's still a 7 seed, which I'm surprised they haven't slipped back a little bit further back. I said, remember a couple weeks ago, I thought they'd be a 6.
Yeah,
when it's all said and done.
That surprised me that they're still at 7.
And that, yeah, totally agree. 6 seems totally out of reach at this point. The other 7s would be Iowa, LSU, and Arkansas, to give you an idea. Now, who are the 2 teams outside of this state for no applicable reason that I mentioned that I root for?
Yeah, Wyoming and Clemson?
Wyoming and St. Mary's.
St. Mary's.
I like Clemson too, Brad Burnell, but Wyoming and St. Mary's scheduled right now or listed as a 9-8 seed playing one another.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
You might have to take the day off.
How about that?
For that one.
Notre Dame, as you'd mentioned, 63-57 last night over Louisville. That puts the Irish at 17-7. They are now 10-3 in the ACC. Elsewhere in college basketball, Illinois State, 78-75 winner over Valparaiso last night. It's Purdue and Michigan tonight, 9 o'clock tip. That is a makeup game with the Wolverines, but it's a quick turnaround for both clubs, right?
It is, yeah. Purdue is favored by 3 in that one. They both played on Tuesday night. Purdue at home. Michigan won a close one at Penn State. Here was Matt Painter earlier in the week talking about the rematch, having played Michigan this past weekend and now playing them again tonight.
Yeah, well, it's the same for both teams. We both played the night. We both had a 9 o'clock start. They got to fly back right now and get back to campus. We got to fly there tomorrow. So it'll be the same for both teams. And, it was, a possession game here. It could have went either way. We were fortunate enough to get a couple stops. They were careless one time with the basketball and didn't complete a play. We deflected one and got it back, made our free throws. But it was really a possession game. So we got the utmost respect for them, and we know it's going to be a tough game.
Michigan 12-9, Jake 6-5 in the Big Ten. They need it for the resume. Desperate for that resume win,
which
for Michigan.
Seems odd, doesn't it? I mean, based on where they were from
a lot
a
of
year
preseason
ago?
hype. Yeah, a lot of preseason hype for Michigan. But that game on Sunday, that was 82-76 there. I guess it was Saturday, 82-76. Hunter Dickinson did have 28 for Michigan. Purdue didn't shoot it great from 3, but still scored 82 in that win over Michigan.
NBA last night, Sacramento over Minnesota, 132-119. Jake, listen, I watched 8 is Enough. That took place in Sacramento. That's the only connection I have to the city. Why are you telling me the Kings score? And, Prince is cool, but why are you telling the Timberwolves? Because the Kings last night got 22 points, 14 rebounds from Domas Sabonis. They also had pretty good play from Jeremy Lamb. I think had 14. Justin Holiday did not shoot the ball well from three-point range, but went to double digits as well. But Sacramento, Kevin, it seems as though the Kings fans who were not happy about seeing Halliburton coming to Indiana, but I think that they're pretty juiced about Domas Sabonis, who appeared to play very well. One game, not a season make, but with De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, the Kings are trying to make the playoffs this year. They will be here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse Wednesday, March 23rd. So that will be the second meeting between those two teams. Sabonis, Justin Holiday both started last night. Jeremy Lamb coming off the bench. Karis LeVert had 11 points off the bench in 28 minutes of action for Cleveland. He was 4 of 11, and that will be who the Pacers will see on Friday. Their next game, it'll be the Cavs over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Our coverage will begin at 6:30 tomorrow night, and we'll see if any other moves happen before the trade deadline. We mentioned earlier the reports of Buddy Hield staying, it sounds like, in Indiana. Seems like that's kind of the momentum right now with Miles Turner as well. Does Torrey Craig get moved? That's a name, I think, as a veteran who obviously helped out, a Phoenix team last year. Could he be moved? Something to watch. Again, 3 o'clock today, the NBA trade deadline.
I think another big thing to watch, Kevin, that people are curious about is and I think the Pacers are still mulling it over. I haven't heard anything official, but whether or not they go ahead and utilize Tristan Thompson or they release Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, we'll have to ask
Although
Scott
he's
Agnes
here,
about
right?
that. Yeah, he's here. I don't know if that's physical related, contract related, but it does seem like Ricky Rubio, of course, torn ACL, so he's over in Spain right now. But the Tristan Thompson stuff, to me, Jake, it's like I don't need to see him play Goga, play Isaiah Jackson. Again, play these young guys. I get your depth right now is a little bit tested in the front court without Turner, obviously traded Domas. But I do not want Tristan Thompson getting minutes at the expense of those young guys.
By the way, back to college basketball. I looked this up yesterday just out of curiosity. This has nothing to do with anything of any actual merit here, but I just found it interesting. 36-32. You know what that is right now?
The temperature range for today?
I'm sorry, 36 and 42. No, 32. 36 and 32. 36 and 32 is the overall record right now of the 3 former Indiana coaches coaching in college basketball. Now, 36 and 32 is their record. 20 and 3 of that is Kelvin Sampson. Mike Davis at 10 and 11. Tom Crean's Georgia Bulldogs at 6 and 18.
And the Fighting Sampsons lost last night, right?
Was it last night or 2 nights ago?
I thought they lost last night to SMU.
Right.
Yeah, so another good year for Houston. All right, we come back here on Kevin and Query. The Colts made a kind of interesting roster move earlier in the week we haven't hit on. We'll touch on that. Gus Bradley, the defensive coordinator, also met the media yesterday. A couple of takeaways from that. Again, Dustin DePierac talk a little bit more about IU and where they are right now from a suspension standpoint. He's going to join us at the top of the hour. Good Thursday morning to you at 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Big Ten rivals collide as Ohio State takes on Michigan in college hoops. Saturday at 5:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
As a Shane Company jewelry consultant, I get to work with couples looking for their dream engagement ring. Many feel overwhelmed. They just don't know where to start. And that's what I love about my job. I get to make this important experience fun and easy. We don't work on commission, so there's no pressure. When you visit, first, I'll want to know, what are your ideas for your dream ring? What fits your lifestyle, your personality, your budget? Then we'll go from there. We'll look at ring settings and I'll show you options for the center stone. For example, if you choose a classic solitaire ring setting, I can show you how it'll look with different center stones, like a pear-shaped diamond or an oval pink sapphire. We have all shapes, colors, and sizes. If you're going for a big look with lots of sparkle, I can show you our halo ring settings. Or, if you want a ring that's ready to go, we can look at our perfectly preset styles. Visit your friends. We're in this together.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
My crusade for the perfect pizza crust has led me here, pining over a backyard wood-fired oven. But how do I bake this build into my budget? Where can I get some solid guidance on my finances? Who can help me understand if I have the dough for this?
A little financial advice. At Regions, we know that's important because your Life Green checking account comes with Greenprint, financial planning with a banker who will help you create a personal budget and live in the moment. Make your appointment at regions.com/Greenprint. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. Looking for that perfect gift for someone special? Skip the flowers and chocolates and bring home a new mortgage this Valentine's Day. Whether it's a pre-approval for a new home or a simple cash-out refinance, we've got you covered. Refinancing or buying a home? Why would you go anywhere else? Mortgage rates are still near historic lows, but we need to get you locked in today. Fall in love with your lender again at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
This will be a night the whole family will remember.
A 40-point night for Miles Turner.
Join us for your new family tradition, Lucas Oil Family Night at Gamebridge Fieldhouse.
And Craig down the lane.
Each ticket purchased through this promotion includes a Pacers hat, hot dog, bag of chips, and a small Pepsi product.
Whoa!
Now that's family value.
Your Indiana Pacers collide with the Cleveland Cavaliers on the next Lucas Oil Family Night Friday at 7. Get your tickets at pacers.com/family.
Hey there, good morning. Jake Query here. You know, a lot of people ask me, so Jake, you're done with work at like before noon every day? What do you do then? Well, I'll tell you what I do now. I get home, I fire up the laptop, I get online, and I go to college. That's correct. Back in school because, listen, folks, I'm not ashamed or afraid to admit it, that some 20 plus years ago, nearly 30 years ago, I left some college credits out there and got into the workforce before finishing my degree and now decided, you know what? I'm going to go back and finish it now. And guess what? There are 700,000 Hoosiers that are just like me. That's right. Those college credits that you have, they don't expire. They are still there if you would like to go back and finish that degree. And the state of Indiana would love to be able to do that. As a matter of fact, Indiana has grants for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. So whether or not life just got in the way for you, or perhaps you thought to yourself, you know what, it wasn't in me back in the day, no problem. You can still go back and finish now. There are plenty of tuition-free options that can fit you. You can find out all the information necessary about it at nextleveljobs.org. That's nextleveljobs.org. indianapolisboatssportandtravel.org, sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. Folks, if I can do it, right now online taking currently music for the listener, little music theory class, 300 level, public relations class. I enjoy it. I do it on my schedule online. You can do the same. Again, check it out, nextleveljobs.org.
We're back. Find your outdoor adventure at the Ford 67th Annual Indianapolis Boat, Sport, and Travel Show, February 18th to the 20th and the 23rd to the 27th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. See the latest boats and RVs, travel destinations from across North America, Tackletown, USA, plus much more. That's over 700,000 square feet of the great outdoors, indoors. Plus, learn from expert fishermen at the 811 Fishing Seminar Series. Save money and buy tickets online at IndySportsShow.com. Another Renfro production.
When a health system treats patients with the very best in medical care and compassion, it needs a rare kind of staff. That's why Eskenazi Health never stops looking for professionals who understand that technology is most effective when paired with a genuine human touch. If you are a nurse, a social worker, or another professional interested in a career with us, visit eskenazihealth.edu/careers. Eskenazi Health, one of Becker's 150 great places to work in healthcare.
Hey, the big game is finally here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56, is giving new customers 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 or more and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. Not a new customer? Bet on Super Bowl 56 props instead. DraftKings Sportsbook offers a wide range of props throughout the big game. Take your shot at winning cash by predicting props like if a non-quarterback will throw a pass, fourth down conversions, total yardage, and so much more. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code 1075FAN, and get 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 or more and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's code 1075FAN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 or older, Indiana only, new customers only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Big Red Liquor celebrating 50 years in business with big sales all year. Kicking off with the February Super Sale. 20% off 3 bottles of wine or spirits. Mix and match. Stock up big for Valentine's, the big game, and beyond. All month long. 20% off. Mix and match. Only at Big Red Liquors.
Myself from Vegemite. I thought you were going to say us. I was like, God,
that too. Right?
I'm out of here. Yeah, man.
That's too.
That's not great for us.
Kevin, yesterday, the new guy that will be calling the shots for the Colts in terms of their defense spoke to the media. You were there. Your impressions?
Yeah, you definitely, listening to Gus Bradley, you see why you hear players that have loved playing for him over the years. I know there are a lot of fans out there that are like, I don't care who he is as a guy. I don't care about his personality, this or that. Jake, I do think it can help in free agency. I think if you look at Gus Bradley's track record at different stops, there's been guys that have either followed him or there's been guys that publicly have said, hey, I was, down to this team and that team, and Gus Bradley's a guy that kind of, made a difference for me in wanting to play for him. And it kind of comes back to, where the Colts are going to be in about a month when free agency begins of you have got to use that avenue. You're going to see it in the Super Bowl on Sunday. Cincinnati's going to have a handful of starters defensively that they found in the spring free agency. The Colts had none last year in the season finale from that part of the offseason. Bradley is a guy to me that could attract some free agents. Again, it's not going to be the sole reason, but when you get and you're kind of comparing pros and cons, I do think his presence could be the difference there.
Now, hang on. I'll play devil's advocate here. You are a defensive lineman for the Detroit Lions. Your contract's up. You got 4 teams that are suiting you. One of them's offering you 4 years for $44 million. One of them's offering you 3 years for $51 million.
Well, finances have got to be even.
Okay.
For this to work.
I was going to say, like...
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I mean, it's not like
I think
a player's going to say, oh, let me take $10 million less to come play for Gus Bradley. It's got to be even. But if you get to that even point, the presence of Gus Bradley and guys liking to play for him, there's been a lot of guys that have come out and said, it was kind of even with a couple teams, and I felt like he made a difference.
Because I've always, again, I think to get players, you got to have money, first off. I remember the Colts when Chad Bratsky came here. I'm going way back.
Oh, that's a name.
But that was back when they would get no free agents, right? And then all of a sudden they get Chad Bratsky and say, whoa, I think from the Giants he came. And he was a good player for him. But at that time, I remember he was totally wowed by the weight room facility. The Colts had a state-of-the-art facility. Now, I don't know, Kevin, you've been inside that complex, and is the weight room and the facility there still state-of-the-art?
It's gotten better. I don't know about state-of-the-art.
I would assume it's probably the same as most NFL franchises, right? But from a player's standpoint, I think more often than not, it's going to come down to how much you paying me. And from a coaching standpoint, I think more often than not, it's going to come down to what players are you giving me? Who do I have to work with here? Schemes and everything else, I always say, man, X's and O's are one thing, but you got to have the Jimmy and Joes. Right? Johnny and Joe's, however you want to say it. You got to have players. And I think the Colts have good players. And then that's where coaching comes into play, because if you have players that are good, that are on the brink of being very good, do you have a coach that can then figure out, what scheme to come up with to best utilize what pieces are there? The question is, I don't know that we know yet whether or not Kwity Paye, Dio Abango, or I know Dio is just what we say. What's his last name?
Dio Adangbo.
Adangbo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's why we say Dio, right? Are these guys that are a great coach away from greatness, or are they just pieces?
Yeah,
we'll find that out, right?
I mean, honestly, number one on the Gus Bradley list of things to do is develop Kwity Paye and Dio Adangbo. Like, that is, if you can do that, all of a sudden this defense can take a big jump in my eyes. It's not a total overhaul by any means, and I think that's what attracted Gus Bradley about the job here. I mean, he's got a Pro Bowler at every level of the defense. There's not many first-year defensive coordinators that walk into that sort of situation. Having said that, the pass rush and the pressure has been an issue, but he's got a couple young pieces to work with. So I'll be curious to see how, again, free agency goes for the Colts, because I think when Jim Irsay talks about demanding change, I do think that's one of the elements of, you've got $40 million in free agency, you don't have a first-round draft pick, you've got to start to adjust your philosophy on free agency.
Let me tell you something. I'm completely out of whack this morning. I'm completely thrown off. And then I wondered if it was just me, or if other people that are listening to this can relate to this, or if either the two of you can relate to this. But in this building, when we drive in, there's a parking garage that is attached to the building, and it has 2 floors below, like a basement level, and then like 8 floors above. Now, for whatever reason, Kevin, you have the above parking. Like when you swipe the card, it's the above lever, and you go upstairs, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mark,
Same.
you're upstairs or down?
Up.
Okay.
Mark and I park with the public.
Okay, so
Common folk.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I park downstairs, right?
Right. Exclusive.
First off, on the second floor of the basement, there is no one. There's one car that's been there for, I think we should do a wellness check. There's a 4Runner that's been down there now, and it's perfectly washed and immaculate, but it's been there in the same spot since I started going down there. But this morning I pulled in, and someone was in my spot. Now, there's nothing that says it's reserved for me, but it's the same spot that I park every morning. Every morning I pull in, I go down to the second floor, the same exact spot I pull in and I park my car. Nobody else in the lot but one guy, and he parked in my spot. Now, there's nothing that says it's my spot. There's nothing reserving it as my spot, but it's where I park every single morning. So, theoretically, this person sees my car in that spot every morning. Doesn't that make it my spot? And is it weird that this has thrown off my entire morning?
Well, slash his tires and then get on with your day.
Yeah,
that's all you gotta do.
So you think that this person knows it's your spot and is sending a message?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's a turf war going on.
Sounds like a CSI.
Am I the only person? I'm curious about this because I've never noticed my neuroticism with this until this morning. So I'm curious, as people are driving right now to work, am I the only one that has a spot that is like your normal parking spot? And if somebody else is there, you're like, what's going on here? Do you park in the same spot every day, Kevin?
I do not. No, I
Really?
don't. There's like 4 or 5 spots that all are kind of the same to me, and usually there's like 2 or 3 cars that are either already in those 5 spots, so I just kind of pick whichever one.
But you're
open.
in the same area.
Same general
Mark,
area.
what about you?
I'm usually in a little earlier than you guys, so there's usually like 2 spots that I prefer. The one spot I used to park in was Primo. And then all of a sudden one day I got a note on my car and they added like this is a reserved parking spot now.
Right.
And it was the main boss, Jeff Samoleon's spot. So
damn.
Yeah. That was a prime spot.
Boy, that's
for a little
awkward.
bit.
Yeah.
I was working overnights. I was living life
I'll
right
go
then.
park on floor 7 now just to make sure.
Now I want to make sure. Don't
Well,
tell
maybe
my car.
someone will be waiting for you when you come down there at 10:05 today.
Here's the other thing that I thought about. Who else is coming in here at 6:30 in the morning and parking 2 floors below the building, right?
Well, I mean, we do have other shows.
And stations.
Other stations.
I know, but like...
You could be B, could be Hank.
I've been there
WIBC.
I've been parking in that spot for nearly 3 months now, for crying out loud. I'm just saying.
I mean, because there's like 80 spots down there, aren't there? And it's not...
Yes.
It's so... I remember I asked him,
2
like,
cars, me and the 4Runner. That's it.
I
And
asked
then this
him,
guy.
I'm like, can I get a parking? Well, no, you got to stay up there. I'm like, well, why? What's the point of that then? So,
well, I'm just saying.
I'm gonna have to put in a request again.
What was your perception of Gus Bradley just in terms of as a guy? I mean,
seems like a great dude. Yeah, and I don't want people to think like I'm someone that's gonna like fall for the banana in the tailpipe of like, oh my gosh, he's a great dude. This is gonna be a great defense. No, I can separate those things. I see why the Seattle defense, Legion of Boom, with a bunch of personalities, enjoyed playing for him. Like there is that feel to him. The other thing I thought was interesting about the Colts this week, Jake, is they signed a kicker earlier this week. Jake Verity. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Verity.
One of my favorite games is to guess what college.
For Jake Verity.
Okay, Jake Verity College. Mark Dykton, your guess. This is a kicker that the Colts signed, right?
Correct.
Okay, is he a rookie?
He is a second year, going into a second season.
Okay.
I mean, I'll just throw out Vanderbilt. I have no idea.
No, directional school.
Central Michigan. Mark?
Western Michigan.
The Pirates of East Carolina for Jake Verity. He was on the Baltimore Ravens practice squad. I find that interesting. You're on the Baltimore Ravens practice squad. That means you're behind the greatest kicker in NFL history.
Right.
Maybe not the clutchest, but the greatest kicker in NFL history, and Justin Tucker. Rodrigo Blankenship is still under contract, Jake. Michael Badgley's a free agent. I would re-sign Michael Badgley. But it sounds like the Colts are very open to a big kicking competition. And I bring that up because, we're going to watch on Sunday. Those 2 kickers, it's been pretty important for both those teams.
Cincinnati in particular, right?
Huge, with a rookie kicker.
Right.
Who they drafted in the 5th round.
I was going to say, when you draft a kicker, especially the 5th, usually kicker punters like 8th round guy, a 5th round kicker, that basically means you really believe in this
That's
guy,
a big
right?
commitment.
Right.
So I don't know if it's top of mind to a lot of Colts fans. I looked up this kid's college stats, Verity. He did make, I think he had like 4 or 5 makes over 50 yards in college, because it seems like with Badgley and Blankenship, length is or was an issue. Like, remember Badgley was short on that late in the year. What was that? Like a 52-yarder he was just short on? I was like, what's going on? And Hot Rod's had issues with length. So,
well, Blankenship, you got to wonder. I mean, I hate to say from a health standpoint, because one would assume that he's healthy at this point, but
he was healthy last year, and they said, stay on IR.
Right. I mean, range has been an issue, right? I mean, I don't think accuracy has been, but range, right?
Yeah. So the Colts did make a move. Right now, that 90-man roster is growing a bit. Again, free agency coming up in about a month, so you'll see some other roster moves there, but the Colts signed a kicker. Mark Dykton, it's been a while, but if you've got one, let's dial up. I got to know.
He's got questions. How about a game? They've got answers.
Hey, I'm more of a cornhole man myself.
Sports, music, movies. What? High fashion.
That Hansel's so hot right now.
And everything in between.
You ever seen a foot with 4 toes?
It's time to get a glimpse into the mind of Mark Dykton.
Stop it, you're scaring me.
It's time for I Gotta Know on Kevin and Query.
Okay, you two punks, I want a good, clean fight. Let's get it on.
All right, has been a little bit since we've done this, but let's see.
Do you have Vegemite Survivor in your bio on Twitter?
Did you?
Okay.
Been a while since we did this. Who do you guys have winning the wild card week? No, that's way old. No, for real. This fall, would you rather see David Bell in a Colts uniform or Jaden Ivey in a Pacers uniform?
Jaden Ivey in a Pacers uniform, because in basketball it is much easier for one player to turn around the fortunes of a franchise. Kevin?
Yeah, I would agree on that. Obviously, I really like watching David Bell play football, though. I think he just goes about his business in the right way. I think there is kind of a Reggie Wayne type of feel, if you want to go back to the opening segment, with how David Bell operates. But wherever Jaden Ivey ends up, boy, it's going to be fun to watch his continued growth, because I got kind of like ripped for it a few weeks ago from these Purdue fans because I called Jaden Ivey raw, Jake. He is raw, and yet he's incredibly talented. Like, he still has another couple of ceilings I think he can get to, and he's already at a baseline of one of the best players in college basketball.
You know the thing that he does really well, Jaden Ivey? You ever watch, I hate to say this term because it sounds kind of derogatory, but if you ever watch like a water bug, how you as soon as your eye catches it and then it boing, and it jumps 8 feet across the pond, you're like, whoa, and then it's just all over the place. He has the ability to do that offensively with the basketball. Like, he's at the top of the key, and his ability to get to a different spot on the floor very effortlessly and quickly to get, it's impossible to keep as a defender to stay in front of him, right? Because he can move so quickly and literally just bounce so quickly through different areas of the lane. I thought originally that he reminded me of Ja Morant because of his athleticism, but I'm starting to feel like as he gets a more consistent outside shot and his ability to lift to get that shot available to him, that he is kind of like a Victor Oladipo player. I mean, that's what he reminds me of. But I think he's going to be a really special NBA player.
I don't say this very often because I think he's a horrible color commentator. Stephen Bardo made a really good point a few weeks ago about when Ivy gets to the next level, he will even be better because the spacing at the NBA is much, much better. This is not a knock against Purdue and how they're constructed, but there's always one guy in the paint.
Right.
Well, now when you get the NBA, let's just play, hypothetical here. Halliburton, Chris Duarte, Jaden Ivey, O'Shea Brissett, and Miles Turner. Well, those are 4 guys around Jaden Ivey that all can shoot the basketball from behind the arc. So you can pull all of them outside of the paint, and now you're letting Ivey, who would go into the NBA and be one of the quickest, fastest guys from day one, let him operate getting downhill with a clear paint. I think that just makes NBA scouts salivate even more about him.
Will the Pacers make another trade before the deadline?
Well, they've got 7 hours and 8 minutes to do so. I say no. I think they're done.
It's funny, if you would have asked us this earlier in the week, Mark, at 7:52 on Thursday morning, the deadline, I would have been like, yeah, 80%, 90% chance. Mm-hmm. Now it's so much closer to 50-50. I will say Torrey Craig
That's possible.
Gets moved before the deadline.
For a second-round pick? Or
yeah, I mean, gosh, it'd be a dream, I think, to get something in the first round there.
So Miles Turner stays in your mind.
Sounds like Turner. Sounds like Buddy Hield.
I think Turner and Hield stay, and I think Turner is hard explored for the offseason, but I think they want to see what he can do with a younger core and how much of their offense in transition can be facilitated by his defense.
Something I want to ask Scott Agnes when he joins us at 8:30. If Miles Turner doesn't suffer that stress reaction in his foot a few weeks ago, is Tyrese Halliburton here?
Right. It's a good question.
It's crazy how that injury could have impacted so many dominoes, not only Turner-related in his future, but obviously Sabonis, Halliburton, etc.
Will Reggie Wayne make the Hall of Fame?
You're asking if we think he...
Tonight?
I want to clarify,
yeah.
Mark. You're asking, do we think he will, as opposed to do we think he should?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I will say no. Kevin? No, you mean tonight, not eventually. Just tonight, right?
Right, correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just today, this class.
I don't know. I guess I'll play devil's advocate and say yes, but I don't. I tried to corner Mike Chappell yesterday and ask him about it, and he was a steel trap. It's probably going to be Andre Johnson over Reggie, but for some reason...
Or Torrey Holt? Yeah. Torrey Holt's pretty good, man.
I know, but... And you would know far better with your St. Louis roots, but still, Torrey
Holt was pretty good.
I think Reggie deserves it.
Torrey Holt was really good, but for a shorter window. Reggie Wayne's longevity is...
And there's so many little branches of the Truth Hall of Fame. Like, to me, longevity matters. To me, a postseason resume matters. I think Reggie has those too. Was he individually just this, Calvin Johnson dominant type of wideout?
Well,
no.
He was John Stallworth who ended up getting in. He will get in at some point.
Yeah. And the fact that Marvin Harrison had to wait 3 years is just an absolute joke.
By the way, real quick, John says there's nothing worse than someone taking my spot at work. Worst part is that thank you, John. It's gravel where he works. Strack, though, however, Joe says, an open spot is just that, Jake. That dude is living in your brain right now for no reason.
Literally camped out in Jake's brain. I mean, I can't wait till Jake walks down and the guy's just smoking a cigarette outside of his car. 10:05.
It's a broken whiskey bottle on your windshield.
Tube of Vegemite, just eating it straight from the tube.
I'm like, come on, man.
We come back here on Kevin and Query. Let's get a check-in on things in Bloomington. Dustin Apirak covers the Hoosiers for the Bloomington Herald-Times, and the Indy Star will update us on where things stand ahead of Saturday afternoon at Michigan State. We'll talk to Dustin when we come back here. Kevin and Query on a Thursday.
Breaking news.
The end of the Turbonis era.
Sabonis gone.
This is what it's like.
Lamb gone.
To blow up a team.
Holiday gone.
But the jewel of this was Tyrese Halliburton. How could you get rid of Halliburton if you're a Kings fan?
I saw that.
If you're talking about it.
All right, you're asking me for my opinion. Here it is.
We're talking about it.
Halliburton.
Very good defender, very good three-point shooter.
Your home for Indy Sports. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Are you hiring? Then check out Indeed. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Do you need furnace or heat pump service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Reinhardt Heating and Cooling? Well, find that American Standard dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Commissioner Neidig, can I have a quick word?
Of course, Governor. What can I do for you?
Well, I just want to say thank you.
For what, sir?
For your service.
Well, Governor, you're welcome, and you know that I'm incredibly passionate about what we do at the IHSAA.
Oh, I do, and I share your passion. Without the IHSAA, we'd be without something incredibly important to our state's culture and to me, the boys and girls basketball state tournaments.
Without Hoosier hysteria, Indiana just wouldn't be Indiana, would it?
You're absolutely right, it wouldn't. And after all these years, I still can't seem to prepare myself for the excitement of the tournaments.
Governor, the only way you can prepare for Hoosier hysteria is by getting your ticket.
Oh, you know I'll be the first in line.
The Indiana Boys and Girls High School basketball tournaments are presented by the Indiana Pacers and Indiana Fever.
Gorgeous gaming, stunning streams, unbelievable bandwidth. Welcome to another Lifestyles of Gagillionaires. Meet the AT&T Fiber customers winning at life with hyper-gig speeds. Say hello to the Walkers, a family of not one but 4 Gagillionaires, each living up their Gagillionaire life at ludicrous internet speed. First up, Anna Walker. She dominates streaming like the matriarch she is. No show ever goes unwatched under her watch.
Next episode.
Next up, Peter Walker. There's no stopping this dad bod from showing up to his virtual workout sessions.
Oh, let's go leg day.
And finally, the Walker twins. They may look alike but couldn't internet more differently. Harry dominates his fellow online gamers while Heather group video chats with friends.
Ooh, nice background filter, Jess.
Live like a Gagillionaire. Get internet that upgrades everything. AT&T Fiber, now with speeds up to 5 gigs.
Limited availability in select areas. Speeds not guaranteed. Single device wired speed. Max 4.7 gig per second. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
If you've ever thought about working at Amazon, now is the perfect time. They have hourly jobs with great pay for everyone. No matter where you're at in the job market, you can select from a variety of available roles in your area. Join an exciting work environment and be part of a team that brings smiles to customers every day. To find the job that works for you, go to Amazon.com/apply. That's Amazon.com/apply. Amazon is proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
It's a Payless Liquors Valentine's and football weekend. Oliver Sweet Red, White, and Rosé is just $6.99 a bottle. Fireball Hearts are only $8.99, and there's 10 shots in each. Côte de Rose's wine is $17.99, and it's a beautiful presentation. Four Roses Yellow Label is $19.99 for the $7.50. And Payless always has great beer specials. Bud Light and Coors Light 16-ounce 12-packs are $11.99, plus Founders All Day IPA is $14.99 a 15-pack at all 26 family-owned Payless Liquor locations. Online at PaylessLiquors.com. Don't pay more, get more, and pay less at Payless Liquors.
FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56, and we can't wait for the Rams to take on the Bengals. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query, and to celebrate, new customers can bet $5 to win $280 in cash on either team to win when you use promo code MARK when registering. That's right, you'll get your winnings in cold hard cash because we know cash is way better than free bets. Now, if I got in on this deal, I think I'm going to take the Bengals. I've been riding them all postseason, and it hasn't hurt me so far. But you can take the Rams or Bengals either way, and you can cash out and win $280 in cold hard cash. Also, while you're there, be sure to check out the Super Bowl props that they have, whether it's the color of the Gatorade, length of the national anthem, multiple touchdown scores, however you want. Check them out. There's plenty going on Super Bowl Sunday in FanDuel Sportsbook. That's why they're America's #1 sportsbook. They have everyday odds boosts and promotions for new and existing customers. They've got same-game parlays, which is one of my favorites, where you can combine small bets for bigger wins. And like I said, tons of Super Bowl props come Super Bowl Sunday. So don't miss your chance to turn $5 into $280 in cash. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and use promo code MARK to make every moment more this Super Bowl Sunday. Again, promo code MARK exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app, MARC. 21 and over and present in Indiana. New users only, $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $280. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
The Pacers are back home to face the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
It's Kevin and Query.
What the hell are you doing, John? Come back and get it. Charlie, come back toward the ball. If he's coming, I'm going to engage him, and then I'm going to slip out into the screen.
Concentrate, get better. Say to yourself, I got to get better.
On 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
By the way, you heard Mark talking about the Gatorade bath and how you can wager on the color. Clearly, it's going to be orange or blue, depending who wins, right?
I thought I saw clear as the favorite.
So I said clearly. So.
Yeah, clearly the color. Let me see if I can find those. We will go over some Super Bowl props in the 9 o'clock hour. I saw the national anthem over under 100 seconds.
See, that one is always, you can't wager a ton on that, right? Because you would think that you would just get together with whoever's singing it and go, hey, listen, drag this out a little bit. We'll split the profit, right?
Can you just dial up whoever's
I'm going to put $20 million on this. Yeah.
I guess the color of the outfit. Let me see if I can find this.
Now I will say this. I say this every year. But tails will be called. It will be heads. Winning team will defer.
Color of liquid poured on winning coach. Clear is plus 200. Blue, yellow. Well, blue is plus 325. Yellow, green, lime are all considered the same. Plus 325, orange plus 375, and then a dip from there.
Yellow, green,
and lime. Okay. Basically, you can't
what's orange?
Differ from any of that. Plus 375.
I mean, why would you not just put $10 on orange? Because if the Bengals win, you're guaranteed to win, right? I mean, that gives you better odds than putting the money line on the Bengals, right?
So you think they put the Gatorade color per the team?
No question.
Really?
If I'm the Rams, I don't want cool blue. No offense.
So if you're the worst. If you're the Browns, you're getting brown Gatorade?
No.
Vegemite Gatorade?
This is not. I'm telling you right now. It's just like the American Dairy Association for the Indianapolis 500 winner when it comes to the milk. Like, they haven't set aside the 2 bottles that they're going to give to the winner. So for the shower, the Gatorade that they're dunking is a specified, I would assume towards the end of the game, it's a specified jug that has nothing to do with what they've been consuming over the course of the game. I realize the players would probably just grab one, but I'm assuming Gatorade has one ready, and that they would do a blue.
Escorted onto the field with 3 minutes to go in the game.
Like the Stanley Cup.
Here's your,
Here
all
it
right,
comes.
make way. Here comes
Get the white gloves on.
If you're the Bengals, you're drinking orange Gatorade. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Did we get Dustin?
I'm calling him now.
How about
I'm sure
none?
he's thrilled to be joining this conversation.
None for plus 950. Guys just get too caught up in the moment. Don't realize, oh wow, somebody else will figure out the Gatorade. Those are some great odds if you want to go none.
Yeah, why not, right? Now, is there a maximum that you can wager on prop bets?
I would assume, especially the national anthem. Player position to pour liquid on winning coach. I love that one. Offensive minus 120, defensive plus 140. Got to be a couple big defensive linemen, right?
Well, it depends on who has the ball, right? I mean, if you're getting a fourth down stop to win the game, does it happen right then? That kind of thing.
Well, see, I think that's why it adds to the defense. If you're kneeling down, your offense is out there.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Doing it, yeah.
5 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock, by the way. Good morning to you. Jake Query along with Kevin Bowen. Mark Dykton here as well. It is Kevin and Query on 93.5, 107.5. The Fan. We've talked a lot about the fact that Domas Sabonis is now in Sacramento. Had a good game last night. 3 Pacer players. Karis LeVert for Cleveland. But, of course, college basketball is a big topic this time of year. Purdue in action tonight taking on Michigan. That is a make-good from a January game. Both teams coming off of a game 2 nights ago, so it'll be interesting to watch. But then there's also the storyline of Indiana, Kevin, and not only a bad loss in Evanston, but the suspensions as well.
Yeah, let's. We have Dustin on the line, right, Mark? Dustin Apirak right now is with us. Hey, hello, Dustin. How are you?
Hey, guys. Good, guys.
Covers the Hoosiers for the Bloomington Herald-Times and for the Indy Star as well. Was up in Evanston the other night. Just to get it out of the way, any update on the suspensions, Dustin, leading into Saturday's game at East Lansing?
Yeah, not yet. I mean, I obviously we'll expect to hear from Mike Woodson probably. I'm guessing tomorrow. I don't think that anything's been set up yet, but I'm presuming that they'll have him talk to us this time, just because to give us an update of what that's going to be. I mean, it's not based on every indication. It's not one of those situations where their hand is forced that it has to be a 3-game suspension. Basically, because if it were drug tests, they would have to be suspended for 3 games if it was second violations on the parts of all 5. So it does not appear that is the case. So it does appear to be Mike Woodson's call. And I imagine what that is probably going to be based on is, how do those guys react? Basically basically they come back with good attitudes. Did they sort of say like, okay, I get why this happened and we won't do it again? That I think is going to be the big question is how do those 5 react to the fact that they were suspended and basically that there is a loss on their heads more or less because of whatever they did in Chicago on Monday night.
Dustin, is there anything we can infer? I guess you kind of hit on it right there from the fact that the 5 guys were still dressing, traveled, were on the bit. Like, I assume this is something that occurred in Chicago, but anything about the fact that they were dressing and not, I don't know, sent home or in street clothes?
Yeah, no, I mean, the one thing, and obviously the rumor that caught fire was that it was a drug issue. The one thing that you can infer is it was not drug tests. Basically, the policy for it being drug, basically if you get a second failed drug test, you are suspended for 3 games, and that's sort of automatic. And when that is the case, you don't dress out. Like, they never said that Logan Dunkam's suspension, what it was for, but at the beginning of the year, but it was 3 games and he did not dress. And so usually when you get a 3-game suspension or when you get a 1-game suspension in football and you're not dressed, that's typically what it is. They never say so because there is I think it actually relates to HIPAA, but I mean, there is confidentiality there. They're not allowed to tell us that. We usually can infer it, but if it were, and I think still, if it were if it were for that specifically, now I have no idea if it was connected in some way, shape, or form, but basically the team rule was not a drug rule. I think that's the thing that I think you can infer in that sense. Like, I don't know if it was tangentially connected in any way, but it basically what you can infer is that it was a team rule and not like an athletic department rule that requires them not to be dressed for the game.
Yeah, I mean, look, Dustin, I think at this point everybody's heard the same thing, right? And I do agree. I don't know that it was drugs, but rather just being 19, 20, 21 years old in Chicago and like, hey, let's go walk around and see what's going on. If that's what it was, regardless.
Like a curfew thing is what you're getting.
Well, I've heard they left the team hotel. They left the team hotel, and then what they did, who knows, but that they left the team hotel after curfew. That's what I've heard. I'm not saying that lock, stock, and barrel, right, Dustin? But that seems to be
right, exactly. Like that's. I think we've heard variations. Like I haven't heard that from anybody that you can, take to the bank. But like you piece that together, and that's what it seems like. Again, all available caveats. I mean, I think what Mike Woodson made pretty clear is it was not until Tuesday morning that he felt like he had to make a decision on it. So, I mean, it sounds like it was whatever seemed to be something that happened Monday night, and when you start piecing things together, that's what it looks like.
Now, on the court itself, Dustin,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to make a statement that you tell me if it's too harsh. Over the course, and maybe it's schematically, and maybe it's actually the fault of supporting cast, has Trace Jackson Davis slightly regressed in the last 3 weeks?
I mean, I would say so. I mean, I think one thing there is some wear and tear there. Not so much like from an injury perspective or anything like that, but I mean, he is the guy. He is the focus of every single scouting report, and at some point that ends up costing you efficiency when the offense is running through you all the time, and you're going to take enough shots. At some point, like you're going to go through stretches where they don't fall, and he's become like obviously less efficient with the ball in his hand. I think. I mean, he's become less efficient around the rim. That doesn't mean he's bad around the rim. That's still a skill that he has. It's not like he forgot how to make those shots, but they're not going in. And so like I don't know that he's gone backwards as a player to a point that that's a thing that he can't do now. But I would say that obviously, was he 4 for 13 the other night? And you've had a couple games with that. Obviously, Kofi going against Kofi obviously was going against Kofi. That's a different ball game. I mean, I think he'd been playing pretty well up to that point for the last couple of games. I don't think he was great against Maryland either necessarily. So yeah, I mean, he's in and around the bucket. He has not been as dominant lately, and they've asked a lot out of him. That is their primary method of scoring the basketball, and I think it's just a case of you're taking a lot of shots. At some point, you're probably going to go through a stretch where you're having a hard time getting him to fall, and he's in that position. And another issue, obviously, is he hasn't found other things to lean on, where that was supposed to be the issue. That was supposed to be that he was supposed to develop a jump shot. And Mike Woodson obviously called him out on the deck for that after the Illinois game, that he's saying, hey, he works on this thing in practice. He just isn't willing or isn't comfortable shooting it yet, and it's on me to get him to do that. But that was Mike Woodson's promise at the beginning of the year when Trace Jackson Davis said he was coming back. They basically said that if Trace doesn't take those shots when they're available, he's going to go on the bench. It's a different ballgame when you figure out that there is a pretty substantial difference between him and Michael Durr. I don't think Durr's been bad, and he has shown up when it's come to dealing with big bodies. But just overall, the production that you get from Jackson Davis compared to Durr is vastly better. So you don't end up holding him accountable for that necessarily for not taking shots. And at this stage, like, he hasn't necessarily developed that, and you need it against a guy like Coburn. I mean, he tried to take him outside and dribble around him, but he didn't shoot over top of him. I think that would have really helped.
Yeah, for me, it's two things. Yes, they haven't supported Trace enough, but also in February, you need your All-American to play like an All-American against a Northwestern front line that doesn't have Shaq. Dustin DePirac is with us here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Again, covers the Hoosiers for the Herald Times in Bloomington and also the Indy Star here. Trey Galloway, Dustin, to me, I know his skill set is not necessarily like dead-eye shooter like you would think that Parker Stewart or Miller Kopp has been, but I feel like he deserves a chance to start and really has probably earned it. Not to mention Parker Stewart hasn't helped himself off the court at all twice now, and his shot has been inconsistent. Do you think this latest news could push Trey Galloway into the starting lineup?
I think there's a good chance of that. I think that could shake things up. The tough part is it really, there's obviously two options for who do you pull. It's Miller Kopp and it's Parker Stewart. I mean, Parker Stewart's still shooting 45% from three.
Is he really?
Wow. Yeah, he's 45.1. That's a huge number. And obviously the issue with Parker, he doesn't create his own. I think like 95% of his three-pointers have been assisted. So, you have to run offense for him or find him in transition. You're not giving him the ball and he's not crossing guys up and hitting a three. I mean, it's basically like you've got to look for it. Something's got to open up within the offense for him to get a look. But, I mean, he can hit it over top of guys. He doesn't have to. He's not necessarily creating space for himself, but he doesn't require a lot to get the shot off. And so, 45% from three, where Kopp is somewhere in, I think, the 37-38% range, and just hasn't hit a bunch of them. I mean, you've seen games still where Stewart hits 3 or 4, where Kopp, I don't think, has had more than 2 since the Syracuse game, if I'm not mistaken. Stewart is still the more productive guy. I think Kopp's been a better defender, but only because I think he gets easier assignments. Like they tend to throw Stewart into the fire when when there's a tough assignment at the beginning that they eventually put Galloway on. Stewart tends to have to hang in there. Like he had to guard Ivy for 6 minutes to start the game, and that's not fair. Just plain, it's just not. Parker's an okay defender, but when it comes to those types of guys, he's not at that level. But he gets thrown into the fire with those, where Kopp tends to get guys who are more like him, that are more float around the perimeter type guys. So he's looked better, I think, defensively, just because the assignments fit. But I mean, from a pure on-court perspective, Stewart's the guy you leave on there because, again, he's just been more an effective, more consistent shooter. But Kopp didn't get in trouble the other night. He played his minutes or whatever. He didn't produce. I think he was 1 of 7 from the field. So the timing is a little bit odd there in terms of how do you want to do that from Woodson's perspective and figure out what do you want to do with the rest of the guys. Do you go another game maybe without starting any of them? To maintain your point and say, hey, you guys all got to earn this back, and obviously it puts you in a situation where Galloway's your point guard again, and that keeps Xavier Johnson on the bench as well. But there's a lot there to try to figure out. But I mean, if you're talking pure on the court, I think it makes sense at this point to put him in and move Kopp to off the bench. I mean, it's tough. I think the big reason that he hasn't done it yet, I think, is he likes having 2 shooters out there to start. And even if Kopp's not making a bunch of them, I think what it does is just his presence tells you how the other team is going to guard you. They kind of have to put their cards on the table in terms of who they're going to double on to Jackson Davis with, who they're not going to leave. It spreads the floor. It maybe gets Trace a couple easy buckets early on because there's not a lot of bodies in the paint to start. So I think those are some reasons he likes it. But I think the counter is you're frequently finding yourself in a position where you've got a bad matchup at the 2 and the 3 guard defensively, where Galloway has really handled those guys well. So you're coming up on a couple games where you have a Max Christie against Michigan State, then you've got Johnny Davis in Wisconsin, Malachi Branham at Ohio State. It's nice to have a guy like Galloway guard those guys as opposed to putting Stewart on them and just forcing him to tread water for a little while before Trey comes in.
Dustin Dopirak is our guest. He is the Indiana Athletics writer for the Bloomington Herald and the Indianapolis Star. He's on the Payless Liquors guest line. Dustin, before we let you go, one area that we probably have not talked enough about because it deserves attention, and I know that a lot of people that are fans of Indiana are excited about it, and that is the incredible season that the Indiana women continue to have. What's been the secret to them suddenly becoming a national power?
I mean, they've recruited really well. I mean, obviously, I haven't followed it at the same level. We've got Seth Tallis, our women's writer. Matt Cohen has been the person who's been on that. But I tracked it a little bit at the end last year when I was working for Mike Schumann at the Daily Hoosier. Derry Moore's just done a really good job of getting pieces. I mean, there's not a huge amount of depth, but I think she's done a really good job of getting this group in shape. And obviously, not only that, I mean, it does go back to Tyra Buss. Basically, I think that really sort of getting her with Kurt Miller sort of started a trend there, and they started getting players around her, and they were able to continue that, and they've been fortunate enough to keep some of this crew around. Obviously, just we're helped by the COVID year, and really, I mean, it's just that starting 5 is terrific. I mean, obviously they've been out without Mackenzie Holmes for a while, but they just have all the pieces. I mean, Grace Berger is just I think she's just so fun to watch. She's just got such a smooth game. Allie Patberg has been so reliable over the years and sort of battled through some things. Cardano Hillary, adding her, I think, to the mix was huge to have a point guard. I mean, their pieces are really good. They've recruited really well. I think Terry Moran's done a really good job of establishing a culture over there. But just, I mean, the talent is at the level, basically, and they've just sort of consistently moved up, just taken, built on good seasons, built on WNIT performances, and taken those into next steps. Got a group of girls that's been around together for a while, has developed a lot of chemistry. They know what they're doing together, and they have systems that fit. Just basically, it's really just been an impressive, just a case of just building on Terry Moran's part to get all these pieces around each other and get a team that really works together.
Dustin, we only got about a minute left here. Let's just kind of throw a hypothetical a month from now. IU men have finished 500 in the Big Ten. They've got one win in the Big Ten tournament. Is that enough? I know it's where you beat them. I know that matters, but let's just throw that out there.
No, I think so, man, and I'm trying to think of how that shakes out the rest of the way, because I think it's 7 games left. My thought was basically going into Northwestern, if they won all the games they were supposed to win, they'd be good, and that I think means you got to beat Minnesota on the road. You would have had to beat Northwestern on the road. You got to beat Maryland at home, and you got to beat Rutgers at home. And if you get those, you're golden. And I think that would have put them at 11. I think, so losing this one, if you still get Maryland, Rutgers, and Minnesota, that gets you at 10. You get one Big Ten win. I think they're safe.
Even without another marquee win?
I think they're probably still okay, but it definitely dips them down. I mean, I think they were at a 7, ticking onto that 7 line before Tuesday. If Tuesday's the last disaster, I think they're still safe. And if they get a tournament win, I think they're okay. I think that gets them in. It might not get them in as comfortably as they would have liked. So, as you mentioned, obviously you have those 3 that are winnable games, and then you've got the stretch of Michigan State, Wisconsin, Ohio State in a row, and then you've got Purdue on the road to end the regular season. I don't think you have to win one of those, but obviously it would go a long way. I mean, I think if you're definitely safe if you get one of the next 3, and then you beat Minnesota, Maryland, and Rutgers. Remember, Rutgers just beat Ohio State last night. I mean, Rutgers is not a sure thing either. That's where Minnesota, I think, and Maryland, if they're at full strength, their games they should get. Rutgers is still tough. They're still a problem. They've still got Geo Baker. He's been around forever, it feels like at this point, but he can still burn you, and he did against Ohio State. So those are tough ones in Rutgers. So I think Rutgers is still at least a decent looking win. With the marquee wins they have already with Ohio State and Purdue, and the Purdue win is going to keep getting better. Those dudes look really, really good right now. So I think that's probably enough to get them in. It's a little tighter. It might be closer to the 9-10 line as opposed to the 7-8 line, where I think they were going into Tuesday. But they could use one though. I think Wisconsin on Tuesday is gettable at home, and I think that's the really big one. That's the one you kind of focus your eyes on. Ohio State too. Michigan, of course, Michigan State's come down a little bit, so maybe that's doable on Saturday. It would mean a lot if they get one of these next 3. I would just put it that way.
He has the pipes for radio. He's got the pen for newspaper. He's on Twitter at Dustin Dopirak. That's DustinDopirak, the Indiana Athletics beat writer for the Bloomington Herald-Times and Indianapolis Star. Dustin, appreciate the information. Enjoy the Thursday, all right?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
That is, again, Dustin on the Payless Liquors guest line. Time now for a Big O Tires Sports Center update.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
NBA last night, the Cleveland Cavaliers, a 105-92 win over the San Antonio Spurs. That is relatively innocuous, one would seem, within the Indianapolis listening market, except for the fact that Karis LeVert did play. He played how, Kevin?
He came off the bench. He was 4 of 11 for 11 points in 28 minutes.
Elsewhere in the NBA last night,
what
Sacramento,
game did you say?
Cleveland and San Antonio. What did I say that wrong?
Oh, I thought you said the Lakers.
Did I say the Lakers?
I thought I heard Cavs, but I don't know. Now you got me worried about the guy in the basement.
I'm going to check the tape later. We're going to review this thing.
Is the Vegemite still clouding your hair? I may have said that.
It was funny.
It's early.
A buddy of mine, you mentioned Sabonis earlier in his stat line. What was it, 22, 14 and something?
22 and 14, yeah.
He was trending on Twitter last night, and one of my buddies was like, I don't think people in the NBA realize he does that every night.
Correct.
Like, are we finally going to start realizing
I honestly,
that?
like,
And 5 assists.
I saw a thing that was like, oh my gosh, like Sabonis is balling out. And I'm like, well, that's pretty much looks like
Falls out of bed and does that.
Right, correct. But last night, as you mentioned, 22 and 14 for Domas Sabonis as the Sacramento Kings get a 132-119 win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jeremy Lamb actually got some pretty significant minutes last night.
Yeah, and played pretty well for them off the bench. Justin Holiday started. He struggled a little bit more, but it sounds like those 3 guys will have pretty big roles in Sacramento. The Pacers are back to practice today. We'll have Scott Agnes on in about 5 minutes, get an update on, is Tyrese Halliburton making his Pacers debut Friday?
Scott Agnes,
like Buddy Hield is playing. We'll see about Tristan Thompson.
Scott Agnes's parents have a saltwater pool, he told me. I don't know if his parents
I don't know if I should believe you or not.
Mark, did you swim in the saltwater pool, Mark?
Yes. Yes.
Played chicken
Swam,
with Mr. Katz.
played, splashed.
Okay.
Did some jackknifes.
Jackknives.
Yeah.
Is that different than what do we used to call that? Hold on. The cannonball.
Can opener?
Cannonball, can opener.
Yeah, can opener's 1 leg, cannonball's 2 legs, right?
You gotta have the variety. Yeah. It's like watching the Winter Olympics.
What about a Susie? Did you ever do a Susie off the diving board?
You like do the splits and jump in? What do you
the Susie's like
Susie?
It's like a
pencil dive,
like a WWE move. You're going full throttle, like belly towards the water, arms up, and then at the last second, you clutch in as a ball into the water.
I've not done that.
Face down. Okay.
Not done the Susie.
Last night, Notre Dame over Louisville, 63-57, mercifully taking us off of the cannonball conversation. The Irish now 10-3 in the ACC. Kevin, they're starting to punch that dance card.
Jake, I did not see this at all coming. Credit to Mike Bray. He's not playing a whole lot of guys. Last night, he pretty much played 6 guys for the entire game.
Coach, man.
They have turned it around, and the resume is not great when you punch numbers and you look at it, but you go 10-3 in a power conference. You gotta be on the right side of the bubble. So we'll see if Notre Dame can keep that up here in February. Tonight from Ann Arbor, it'll be Purdue at Michigan. You surprised that line is only Purdue favored by 3?
No, because I think people still see Michigan as you saw what they did in Bloomington, right? Like they have it within them.
Yeah.
And I guess, although I've never thought of Chrysler Arena as an overly imposing arena.
No, it's not. 6-5 in the Big Ten, Michigan, 12-9 overall. They need this for the resume. Both teams played on Tuesday, as Matt Painter said earlier. We heard the audio. Purdue flied yesterday. Michigan's got flew home from Happy Valley on Tuesday night after they won a close one there. So kind of an NCAA tournament feel to this week for Purdue. Played on Tuesday, off Wednesday, and then playing again tonight. So we'll see how the Boilers handle kind of a short turnaround here with a trip to Ann Arbor. All right, we come back on Kevin and Query again. Scott Agnes. We'll ask him, I guess, about his saltwater pool. I'm sure he's going to love that conversation. And more about the NBA trade deadline. 3 o'clock, it's approaching. Are the Pacers done? We'll throw that to Scott here coming up next on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
It's CarX Tire and Auto, 14 Central Indiana locations, helping you keep winter road ready. To find that location nearest you, log on, CarX.com today.
Looking for that perfect gift for someone special? Skip the flowers and chocolates and bring home a new mortgage this Valentine's Day. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
NMLS number 1326-241.
Go for a huge score during the big game with BetMGM. Simply download the BetMGM app and place a $10 moneyline wager on pro football's final game. If either team scores a touchdown, you'll win $200 in free bets, regardless of your wager's outcome. Just use code SB200 when you make your first bet. You'll also earn BetMGM rewards points that you can redeem for room nights and dining at MGM resorts nationwide. And you download the BetMGM app and use that code SB200 to win $200 if either team scores a TD in the big game. Only at BetMGM. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
This will be a night the whole family will remember.
A 40-point night for Miles Turner.
Join us for your new family tradition, Lucas Oil Family Night at Gamebridge Fieldhouse.
And Craig down the lane.
Each ticket purchased through this promotion includes a Pacers hat, hot dog, bag of chips, and a small Pepsi product.
Whoa!
Now that's family value.
Your Indiana Pacers collide with the Cleveland Cavaliers on the next Lucas Oil Family Night Friday at 7. Get your tickets at pacers.com/family.
Now through February 16th, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for zero enrollment and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, Mr. I can't sleep at night, so I keep dozing off during the day.
Especially you, Snoozy. You'll rest easier and feel fit-tacular.
Wait, how did you get in here?
Join in club or at planetfitness.com. Zero enrollment, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends February 16th. See club for details.
Love. It makes us do crazy things, like being the first one to say, I love you, or adopting a cat together when you're more of a dog person. Celebrate the madness of love with a perfect Valentine's gift from Hellsberg Diamonds. Right now, half-carat diamond heart pendants in your choice of white, yellow, or rose gold are just $399.99, a savings of $400. Show her you're smitten with the gift of gorgeous jewelry at our best prices of the season. Hurry, Valentine's Day is Monday, February 14th. Shop at hellsberg.com or visit a store near you.
Feeling the pinch of higher prices?
Golden Oak Lending can save you money with their low 2.25% rate.
James Hawkins here, president of Golden Oak. Offset high prices with lower monthly payments or turn your home equity into cash.
Lock in this low rate while you can. Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937. 2.25% fixed. 3.336% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
The Ride with JMV.
Former NFL wide receiver and ESPN analyst Keyshawn Johnson. Hey, Keyshawn, what do you think the ceiling is on Michael Pittman Jr. of the Colts?
I think he's a Pro Bowl caliber, headed in the Pro Bowl caliber way. I'd like to see him be a little more aggressive at times, a little more athletic than what I've seen. And next time I talk to him, I'm going to let him know those things. He could be a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver for them, but he's young. He needs to speed the game up.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Mark, you listen to the tape. Do you owe us an apology?
I do.
Okay.
I don't know where I got the Lakers from.
Well, how about next time? You
I saw them get waxed by the Trailblazers. That's why I was like, I thought you said Lakers. I was like, they
what
lost.
We call Vegemite brain, folks.
I know.
Probably going to hit me here.
Yeah, my
hit me earlier. Thinking
my brain's upside down.
Big O Tires time.
Well, hey, that's right. Vegemite's wonderful. The vitamins that come with that.
Oh yeah.
Boy, the toilets go different in Australia. That's my brain this morning. It's going the opposite way.
Anywhere south of the equator, right? Is that because it's south of the equator or because it's on the other side of the prime meridian?
I have no idea.
So is it
That's why you watch The Amazing Race to find those things.
Does the toilet water start spinning in the opposite direction because of the equator or because of the southern hemisphere or because it's in the eastern hemisphere? It would be southern, right? It has to do with the gravitational pull below the equator, right?
All local plumbers, give us a call, 317-239-1070.
Joining us now on the Payless Liquors guest line, and like our last guest, I'm sure thrilled to be doing so. He is with Fieldhouse Files. Scott Agnes joins us, who not only is busy, one would assume, for the next and anxiously waiting by the phone and by the computer for the next, 6.5 hours here before the NBA trade deadline. But afterwards, looking forward to relaxing with a nice dip in his parents' saltwater pool. Right, Scott?
If it wasn't closed or cold, perhaps. Yeah, how do you not know what a saltwater pool is?
I've never heard of that. When did this become in vogue?
They switched over a regular pool to that, I want to say, like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, lower maintenance.
Okay. Now, do you just have to go out like occasionally and dump like a big thing of Morton's in there, or how does that work?
That might be out of my scope now. I think you do it once a year, maybe. Okay, but I'm not an expert. Whereas
water softener pool.
This says saltwater pool systems became popular in 1972 and really took on a life of their own in the United States in the early 1980s. That's right in your wheelhouse.
Oh, come on. I was born in 72. I swam, and my parents never had a pool, but everybody I knew did. Never once did it taste salty. Okay, Scott, let's begin with this. In your opinion.
By the way, whereas usually you would have to walk around the pool or something and dump chemicals like once a week.
Yeah, so no, you're right about that.
It's really different.
You believe the Pacers are, in terms of big-time deals, I'm not talking little like clean-up pieces here. Are the Pacers done before the trade deadline here, or do you think there's still one more seismic move coming?
No, I think they're done in terms of significant moves, yeah. But you just never know with all these different teams trying to get involved. But it seems most likely, I think, at this point.
Okay, so practice today, and Scott Agnes from Fieldhouse Files is with us, covers the Pacers, joins us every Thursday. Are we expecting Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, Tristan Thompson all to practice and make their debuts tomorrow night?
At least practice. We all saw photos of them arriving to town yesterday. Then, of course, the outgoing guys landed in Sacramento yesterday and played 2 days ago, rather, and then played last night. I certainly expect them to be there. In terms of their involvement and all that, that remains to be seen because there's probably some cleanup items they have to do in terms of with the medical staff. They're probably getting issued all their uniforms, practice gear, and all that kind of stuff. But I would expect, most likely, for them to be out on the practice court and walking through things. But
and that includes Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, he's one of those when you talk about an ancillary deal that you could move on from. You could do a buyout. You could repurpose him and send somewhere else. That's one of those deals. Kind of one of three things I'm kind of watching here to wrap up. That's not most likely. That is still very possible. Here's where I am surprised, guys. Usually, I feel like a trade deadline, the Pacers practice late in the day after the deadline. Once things are done, that because they're not doing that, that suggests they're probably done with any kind of major movement here. And so they're holding practice here at noon rather than at 4 p.m. after that deadline.
Scott, when I think about Pacer trades, Scott Agnes is our guest, Pacer trades that netted, that involved multiple players. The one that comes to me, I will throw in this one, and I'll tell you why. I remember when they traded Jalen Rose and Travis Best, they sent them away, and they got back Brad Miller, Ron Mercer, Kevin Ollie, obviously Artest they got back, but there were, at the time, it was thought that Brad Miller was the centerpiece, and then Ron Artest develops before your very eyes. Like, whoa. Is it possible? I know that Halliburton was the piece that theoretically Indiana was going after in this Sacramento deal, but Buddy Hield comes with it, and I know he's got a big ticket. Is it possible that he is a piece that we go, whoa, okay, well, that worked out well for them? Or indeed, is he going to be a piece that they'll go to look at, but they'll try to flip in, let's say, a year?
Yeah, I think it's probably more likely to be the latter just because I don't see him fitting this timeline. But he does add that shooting, although it's down a little bit from previous years. But, yeah, that's why a guy like Tristan Thompson doesn't make a ton of sense, too, just because what's going on. Sorry, I just got one of those Woj alerts.
Oh, boy. Is it a bomb?
But nonetheless, what's that?
Is it a bomb?
No, it's Woj.
Woj bomb, yeah. I'm not saying like a bomb in your apartment complex or anything. Gee, yeah, gosh.
No, I think that is a significant personal news. But, yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Buddy Hield. Yeah, I think he turns 30. Most of their guys they're talking about now, other than Duarte, who's an older rookie at 24. I think you're trying to get more guys that are 25, 24, or a little younger on the way up. However, this is the other big thing about what they've been able to do here in the last 4 days or so, is because of the success they've had, they're not having to do one of those true teardowns or anything like that. So it's truly going to be, I think, a retooling, a reshaping, however you want to frame it. And that's significant. That's important, and I think that's probably, as it turns out, much more to the liking of Herb Simon's style. He gets some draft picks. He gets some attractive assets, and much like they did with Oklahoma City, you send out your outgoing all-star, and you get back the guy that you think replaces him as your all-star moving forward.
Scott Agnes is our guest. Scott, that Adrian Wojnarowski news that just came out is basically an article talking about James Harden's desire to be traded to the Philadelphia 76ers. That would mean, obviously, that from the Sixers standpoint, if that were to happen, not saying it would, but if it were to happen, there would be pretty seismic changes on both rosters. So that said, these are two teams that we thought coming into it were going to be big-time players in the East. Right now, in your opinion, I realize it's Miami, Milwaukee, Chicago, top 3 in the East. Cleveland right there at 4. In your opinion, though, the favorite to win the East is who?
I think right now it's still Milwaukee. I think Chicago can make it really interesting, and I think that would be a great series. But it feels like they're just a little bit short. I think a couple players are out right now still for them with injuries. Now, if you make this trade, then again, things get really interesting because I think talent-wise, again, it's Brooklyn that you're keeping an eye on and watching more closely. And then Philly, I've never been Joel's been really impressive. But outside of that here in the last 5 years or so, Philly has never really impressed me with what they have done. And then adding James Harden, who I haven't been a big fan of how he's handled now probably 2 straight exits. I think they could make a run, but I don't see it significant all the way to the finals. But, yeah, Milwaukee remains the dominant team, I'd say, for right now.
Scott Agnes, again, from Fieldhouse Files, joins us podcast and written work over there, as well as joining us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Scott, I asked this question to Jake earlier, and I'll throw it to you. If Miles Turner does not suffer that stress reaction, is Miles Turner still a Pacer, and is Domantas Sabonis still a Pacer?
Yeah, how I view that is I think it probably remains more likely that Miles was dealt. However,
and Halliburton wouldn't be here then, right?
Yeah, that's exactly the point. Is you're going to have De'Aaron Fox is what they were offer if you're trying to move off of Miles Turner. The fact that they were willing to part with Halliburton allowed the Pacers to get more comfortable moving Sabonis because Halliburton people didn't think was available, and Pacers kept this quiet for that exact reason. And were able to ultimately complete it. But if not for that deal, then, yeah, I think Turner was most likely. And that doesn't mean Sabonis wasn't gone, just probably at a later time. Or if the team started winning again and adjusted its timeline a little bit, then maybe he could be part of the team's future.
It's pretty crazy looking back on that injury maybe a couple of years down the road and see how it shifted the franchises and certainly individual careers for those players.
You could say the same thing for Paul George, by the way.
Certainly.
2014. Without that injury, What does this team look like?
Yeah, I mean, even Victor's injury after that, all 100%. Of that has impacted things. I was listening to your podcast, and I thought you made a point that I was like, oh, wow, I guess I didn't realize maybe the magnitude of it. We see Miles Turner's displeasure or just his vocalness maybe on social media a little bit more, or the Athletic article, things like that. Was Domantas Sabonis quietly upset about some things here in Indiana?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Just a number of different things, everything from Nate Bjorkgren to the team's lack of success to the team's immaturity and the front office having to come into the front office or the locker room countless times to disorganization in terms of the offense and unsure of what they're trying to get accomplished on the floor and selfishness with guys not getting into the offense and guys taking over. A number of different factors. And, oh, by the way, remember you had, of course, that public comment from Kevin Pritchard saying, yeah, we don't have a star here. We got to manufacture one. And he's like, hey, look, I'm a two-time All-Star. I mean, there were meetings that went on after that comment internally because of that. So it was nothing by any means. I don't want to characterize it as I would get me out of here, trade demand, or I'm miserable here. But, yeah, I wouldn't say it was a totally satisfactory experience here in the last couple of years or so.
Scott, do you think players have 100% respect for Kevin Pritchard?
That's hard to say. 100%, I don't know. I think they respect him and how he carries himself, and Chad as well. I will say more the way in which that front office is organized is Chad, from my vantage point, deals with the players.
Talking about Chad Buchanan, the general manager, right?
Correct, yes. Sorry. More directly than Kevin. Just he's the day-to-day guy in terms of texting, or if a guy's called up from the G League or trying to get their parents here or contacting agents. That's kind of the role in which he plays. Kevin's has been making the final decision, but Chad is in more the point of contact, if you will.
Scott, I lied. I guess I've got one more. And
go for it.
As we sit here right now, I don't think we've done a good enough job on this show, I guess, of acknowledging how much flexibility the Pacers now have. Like, You've got the 3 draft picks inside of the top 35. That's extremely rare for this franchise. Cap space-wise, I know it's not a great free agency class next summer, but you can do different things with that cap space. And then if you want to move Buddy Hield at some point, Rubio's expiring, Turner, Brogdon after the season, you could move any of those 4 guys, and I don't think we'd be shocked by that and probably get decent returns. So I feel like Kevin Pritchard, again, he's helped put the Pacers in this situation of needing to rebuild. But at the same time, I think he's done a really nice job of giving the franchise multiple avenues and options to explore, because you never know who's going to get desperate. You never know who's going to be available.
And that's exactly the Pacers' position, is they want to be ready just in case and playing down those scenarios, not just this year, this summer, but for the next kind of 3 years to try to take advantage. Because you think back to that 14 deal a year ago, getting Karis LeVert in exchange for Victor, who was gone anyway. Well, then you just flip that even more so into more assets. And so that's actually something that's going to be interesting to take a look at here, I think, once the trade deadline's over, is now what is that Paul George, let's call it, asset has become after all of that, and because they were able to make that move. But, yeah, the cap space is a great point, because the Pacers did not have much wiggle room. Now they do, at least at the moment, about $20 million, which I think is about 4th most in the league, coming to a summer where not many teams have cap space. So a younger team or a team trying to rebuild or get more assets, maybe this summer, for example, they absorb and take on one bad contract and get all kinds of assets for it. Not to the level of OKC, but it's something like that. And so that can certainly help a rebuild. And then maybe later on, you're not necessarily drafting every one of those picks. You're packaging that in a player to move up and get a better pick or a established player. So the Pacers are creating options and flexibility for sure.
I'm on the all-important and all-knowing tankathon.com, which right now shows Detroit, Orlando, Houston, Oklahoma City, Indiana. That's how it would slot right now in the old system, but of course there is a draft lottery. I'm going to hit Sim Lottery, which spins them all up like the ping pong balls, right?
I like this game.
Kevin, you're going to predict that I will land on what for the Pacers?
I think you got good voodoo. Let's go with 3.
3? All right. Scott, what's your guess?
I've got 5.
5. All right, here we go. It's spinning, and San Antonio landing the number 1 overall pick, followed by Detroit, New Orleans, Orlando, Houston, Oklahoma City. The Pacers drop 2 spots, drafting now 7th.
And Pacers fans listening say, that sums up the Pacers.
Should we do it one more time?
Right.
We're going to do it one more time in case there was a frozen envelope in there.
Now
Spinning
we've got
again.
Boomer as
we
the
went
good
up to
look
6th. We're up to 6th. Jaden Ivey eludes once again. Doing it a third time just for the hell of it. And boom, back to 8th.
Oh, my gosh.
I got to stop. I got to push away.
Man, maybe that guy is standing outside of your car when you go down to the basement.
I guess, man.
Scott, I know it's...
Just open up the ESPN trade machine, Jake, and then you sound like a common fan right now, desperate for any kind of good news to come their way.
That's right.
Scott, I know you're juggling some things earlier in the week at the Mad Ants game when news broke and whatnot, so hopefully today will be a little bit easier for you leading into the 3 o'clock deadline, but great work as always.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Scott Agnes,
Still
Fieldhouse
7th.
Files.
Spinning again. We're still at 7.
Jake's going to refresh that. His email is spinning, and now the tankathon.com will be spinning here.
Oh, second!
In a few.
Second behind Portland.
43rd time's the charm. Keep spinning.
They're drafting second behind Portland, 1 spot ahead of the
didn't they send,
Pelicans.
They sent Nancy Leonard, right? Last year, wasn't she the good luck charm? Maybe she was on Zoom. You know how each franchise sends somebody there, so we'll see how the Pacers handle that. It's weird. The Pacers-Cavs on Friday, Jake. Don't Pacers fans want both teams to lose?
Yeah, you're right.
You got both picks.
You're right.
But Cleveland's the weird one of you don't want Cleveland to lose too much, so then they get in the lottery, and then that lottery-protected pick stays with Cleveland. But you don't want
Cleveland's pretty good though. They ain't
to win too much either, because you don't want them to draft, 26.
Right now it would be 24th.
That's 24th where their pick is.
Yes, it would be. So Indiana, in my latest, which was the 9th attempt, sim lottery, the Pacers would be drafting 2nd and 24th.
Hey.
And Kevin Pritchard's thinking man, my old club Portland. When Kevin Pritchard had the number 1 overall pick in Portland, he took
Greg Oden.
Greg Oden is correct.
2nd and 24.
Over Kevin Durant, and I tell you, every single general manager in the league would have done the exact same thing and taken Oden over Durant.
We come back here on Kevin Aquari, some Super Bowl props to get into. We'll touch on that with the game, 72 2 hours away, a little bit more than that, with the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday.
Ooh, I just got second again, this time behind Sacramento.
On 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
It's so good to have high school sports fans back in the stands this year, isn't it?
I couldn't agree more. We've missed their cheers, their energy, their spirit, and their support.
When you buy a ticket to high school athletic events, you're not only supporting your school's athletic department, you're also supporting your school's second classroom.
That's because the court, the gym, and the pool are where student athletes learn valuable life lessons that will guide them the rest of their lives.
From teamwork and time management to responsibility and respect, I'm Brian Lewis, a proud Jasper Wildcat.
And I'm Robert Falkins, a South Bend LaSalle Lion. We're both assistant commissioners of the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
We're also both educators, so we know firsthand that high school sports aren't just about winning and losing. They're about learning and growing, too.
So, buy a ticket to your high school's athletic events and support the education of teens in your community.
This is supporting your school. This is supporting your community. This is your IHSAA.
Hey, Jake just got the Pacers #1. That was like his 15th try.
Hell yeah, over Detroit.
The NFL season's come down to this, a Super Bowl 56 with the Rams taking on the Bengals. To celebrate, FanDuel Sportsbook is hooking all customers up with a risk-free same-game parlay. New and existing customers can place any same-game parlay of 3 legs or more on the Super Bowl, and if you don't win, FanDuel will refund you. Same-game parlays combine multiple bets for the same game into one wager for bigger payouts. Build your parlay with spreads, money lines, totals, Super Bowl props, and more. I made one just the other day. It was Jamar Chase and Cooper Kupp as anytime touchdown scorers. And I think, it's Cooper Kupp as 2-time touchdown scorer, Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase as anytime touchdown scorers. Build your same-game parlay any way you want, and then you can make it bigger odds, longer odds, however you want. The bigger the payout you get. I'm screwing this all up. FanDuel Sportsbook is America's #1 sportsbook.
You want me to hit the simulator again?
I need a dab of Vegemite.
Okay.
FanDuel Sportsbook is America's #1 sportsbook. The app is safe, secure, and easy to use. And when you win, you get payouts in as little as 2 hours. So if you already have an account, just place your risk-free same-game parlay bet before the Super Bowl to qualify.
It sounds easy.
Let's get through this thing. New customers join today with promo code Mark and enjoy 56-1 odds on either team to win the Super Bowl. You can bet $5 and turn it into $280 cash. That's promo code Mark on the FanDuel Sportsbook app, MARC. 21 and over and present in Indiana. Refund issued is now withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
It's a Payless Liquors Valentine's and football weekend. Oliver Sweet Red, White, and Rosé is just $6.99 a bottle. Fireball Hearts are only $8.99, and there's 10 shots in each. Côte de Rose's wine is $17.99, and it's a beautiful presentation. Four Roses Yellow Label is $19.99 for the 750. And Payless always has great beer specials. Bud Light and Coors Light 16-ounce 12-packs are $11.99, plus Founders All Day IPA is $14.99 a 15-pack at all 26 family-owned Payless Liquor locations. Online at PaylessLiquors.com. Don't pay more, get more, pay less at Payless Liquors.
Do you hold a Class B CDL and want to earn competitive pay plus be home every night? Know someone else with a Class B CDL? Irving Materials Inc. is hiring full-time ready-mix concrete drivers at $26 per hour. Great pay, daily overtime, and excellent health benefits. You should apply at IMI's Job Fair this Thursday, February 10th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn Northwest. For more information, all Class B CDLs should go to driveimi.com. That's DRIVEIMI.com. DriveIMI.com.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
So if you're just joining us this morning, where have you been? Not that I can say we blame you, but here's what we missed. We talked plenty about not only college basketball in Indiana and the suspensions that took place with Mike Woodson, but also a little bit about the fact that Gus Bradley yesterday talked to the local media. Then we got into the draft simulator, and then we had Mark Dykton with the smoothest live read in the history of local radio.
Shut your mouth, sir.
Oh, did I miss that?
Yeah,
That's why it's live. It was fun. You never know what's going to happen. I got all excited because Jake got number one. I got completely thrown off, and I was looking at the wrong copy.
It took 19 times for me to finally get the Pacers on the NBA or Tankathon.com for the number one overall pick, and I thought, surely there isn't anything this morning that's going to take 19 takes. And then Mark said, hold my Vegemite, right?
Yeah. Let's listen to more music. You've gone off the rails.
And then also this morning, Mark, if it makes you feel any better, my morning got completely thrown off because when I pulled in, I know that we don't have reserved parking spots, but I park in the same spot every single day, and someone else was parked in my spot. It's a completely empty garage, and I round the corner, and it's usually just a straight. And now the guy that's parked in my spot, I've seen that car before, and it's normally 4 spots over. So he moved 4 spots over into my spot.
So you need to take like the Chicago driver approach. Have you ever seen where they do the dibs program where like people put like
Orange
lawn
cones?
chairs and cones out in front of the spots that they shoveled out?
They do
you
that
need to do that for your space. Just have it like roped off or something.
They do that in Carmel for the 4th of July
They start
parade.
doing that next week, right?
I was going to say, I think my parents already set up.
I want to be right here when the fire trucks go by.
That person's got a lot of real estate in your head, Jake.
I mean, listen, it's not reserved, but it's kind of, there's a gentleman agreement here or ladies agreement, whatever it might be. I don't know who's driving that other car. Now, I'm a little concerned also we need to do a wellness check, as I mentioned. When I drive down to the second floor of the basement to park, there's a brand new, shiny Toyota 4Runner that's been in the same spot since I started parking down there in like December. And I'm worried now. Maybe that guy's just doing dibs.
Yeah, and they could be just saving it.
Now, did you say that
saving it for the nice weather?
Did you say that somebody in your family listens to the program?
Yeah, it was it was a bit awkward. So we'll get into some Super Bowl props here in just a second. You remember we were talking about Matthew Stafford's wife or Sean McVay's fiance, who they show first or whatever? Well, my mother-in-law happened to be listening during that time, and she, I wouldn't call her, I'd call her supportive. I wouldn't call her an avid listener of the show, but she was tuning in during that time, and she thought to herself, Kevin, I couldn't have been prouder to be your mother-in-law when you said, well, it's definitely going to be the Rams head coach's fiance. She's so hot.
Okay. How'd that go over?
That I was like, should I go eat at the kids' table? Should I kind of exit?
You're not already
here?
eating at the kids' table?
Well, kids' table. We do have some nephews and nieces. So yeah, that was a bit of an awkward moment there. So I was happy that Lisa was listening, but maybe not. She's like, yeah, I was listening during the pop quiz time. I'm thinking to myself, well, the pop quiz can get kind of interesting. So, maybe she had a similarity with one of the callers. She's like, yeah, you're talking about how hot Sean McVay or the Rams coach's fiance, which, I mean, Jake, to be fair, am I wrong?
Woo! Sean McVay did well for himself, yes.
Yeah. And we'll see who gets shown first on Sunday, Sean McVay's fiance or Matthew Stafford's wife. We'll get into some more Super Bowl props when we come back here. Kevin Aquari, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
School is in session.
Coach Tom Izzo, you called timeout 12 seconds ago.
17 to 22-year-olds today aren't as focused in on the task at hand. Nike has not come out with a belt buckle that has a phone that I can text them to. I have complete faith that my guys aren't always on the exact same page, so the timeout can get them on the exact same page.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
March Madness, where allegiances mean everything, and fandom reigns supreme, where Cinderella teams dance with bracket busters and perennial powerhouses. Your fire fuels their flight. Go beyond your limits and enter the NCAA universe. The road to the Final Four goes through Indianapolis, March 17th and 19th at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Get your seats today at ncaa.com/MVB tickets.
Wow, I've got a whole 5 minutes before my next call. What should I do? Grab a snack? Nah. Text with mom? That's more than a 5-minute proposition. I have been looking at getting a new bank account. Is that even possible?
Can't believe you have extra time? You won't believe what you can do with it. Open a Regions checking account online in as little as 5 minutes. Then enjoy award-winning service and banking tools and tech that help you live in the moment. Learn more at Regions.com/live in the moment. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Hey, the big game is finally here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56, is giving new customers 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 or more and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. Not a new customer? Bet on Super Bowl 56 props instead. DraftKings Sportsbook offers a wide range of props throughout the big game. Take your shot at winning cash by predicting props like if a non-quarterback will throw a pass, fourth down conversions, total yardage, and so much more. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code 1075FAN, and get 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 or more and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's code 1075FAN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 or older, Indiana only, new customers only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX, Indianapolis.
Join me today. Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowl is going to tell us what prospects stood out there. Big night of college hoops. Look, let's be honest, Pacers aren't done. We'll talk about it today, noon to 3. Join me.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Okay, we're going to be a professional radio program here for the final hour of the show. Everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
OPP, other people's parking, right?
That's right. Well, the parking is technically my property, right? Telling you, it just completely threw off my day. I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't my normal spot.
The exclusive downstairs, you get a nice steamy towel when you walk out of the.
It is. I'll tell you what, it's not. It's spacious down there.
Get your shoes shined.
Now, the one thing that's odd about it is when it's got columns.
I thought we were going to be a professional show.
You have to drive between the columns when you're changing lanes, and it gets a little tight.
Super Bowl props, Jake. Longest field goal in the game. Over under 47.5 yards.
Ooh, I would go with these offenses and the way that they are aggressive, I would go with the under, right?
I say over. I think they're going to trot out McPherson for like a 48, 49-yarder.
See, where I kind of lean with Mark, you kind of get late half. You know, you get to the 52-yard field goal. I don't like necessarily the over-under on field goal makes because I do agree with you, Jake, the aggression of these teams, they could go for some fourth downs, but you get late half.
So it doesn't have to be a make. It has to be an attempt?
No, I believe it's a make.
Oh, okay.
Which,
even
that's
still,
probably something to think about as well. Will there be a successful 2-point conversion in the game? You can get plus 250 if you believe that is a yes. Those are pretty good odds if you think. Now it has to be successful.
Successful, right?
Not just an attempt like Mark just said.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I would take that. I would say no, there will not be a successful 2-point attempt.
Okay, so no is minus 325, so obviously not great odds there. Another one I like, longest reception for Jamar Chase. What do you think that over-under is?
30.
I'm going to say 28.5.
Boy, Mark Dykton, you are a degenerate. 27.5 for Jamar Chase. I like Odell Beckham over 5.5 catches. That Robert Woods torn ACL, they got Odell Beckham they had him a couple weeks before the torn ACL. If they would have had Woods, Kupp, and Beckham, I wonder if Odell would have gotten a little diva-like. But now that he's getting touches and he's really stepped up for him, in a way that could be kind of like a bit of a blessing, I guess.
Yeah, I would say, so 5.5 on the over-under on Beckham?
Yeah, catches.
I'd go the under on that.
Really?
Yeah.
Total points by your guy, Evan McPherson, 8.
Say that one more time.
Total points by Evan McPherson, 8.
Over.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's going to be more than 2. I think the Bengals are going to score more than 2 touchdowns, and he'll probably have more than 1 field goal attempt.
Well, he would need for 8, he'd need 2 field goals.
He's going to need 2 field goals
and 2 touchdowns.
Right, just to get 8, though. But that's...
So you think they score at least 23 points?
Yeah. Well, I've got the Bengals winning.
20.
Spoiler for tomorrow.
I do, too.
But even if they score 4 touchdowns and 1 field goal, and they score 31 points, he doesn't get 8 points. 8,
I'm still
8
going
you got to
with it.
settle for a lot of field goals.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll be a high-scoring game.
Now, Jake,
So I'll say yes.
this is where your brain's going to come in handy, all right?
Now, is that a compliment?
Oh, certainly.
Okay.
What will be higher? Matthew Stafford's first half passing yards
Or Snoop Dogg?
or the average speed in the Daytona 500?
Okay. Give that to me one more time.
Matthew Stafford's first half passing yards
Right.
or the average speed of the Daytona 500?
Well, the problem with the Daytona 500 is...
When is it? Next week?
I think it's... Is it a week later?
You know, they did that thing at the Coliseum or something, didn't they? Last week?
I think the Daytona's next week. Could be wrong. My brother-in-law is actually going to it.
I mean, 190 is right around there, right?
Is it really that high? Boy,
But
190.
it depends on how many cautions you have.
190 first half passing yards for
Well,
Stafford
no, I'm
would
sorry.
be a big
That's
number.
You said pole speed or average speed?
It says Daytona 500 average
Oh,
speed in
yeah.
miles
Okay,
per hour.
then that dips it down significantly because there are so many cautions in the Daytona 500 that the average speed gets thrown significantly, right?
What I mean is it like 150?
Around there, 145 probably. It just depends on how many cautions. 130, 140, somewhere in there. Stafford will throw for more than that and a half, right?
I don't know.
I mean, that's a good one. I think you would have to say 135 to 145 is what you should expect in terms of the average speed of the Daytona 500. Somewhere in there.
All right, how about a streaker? What do you think? Will an unauthorized person enter the field of play?
What is the most you can gamble on that?
It's a good question.
Because the reason I say it, wouldn't it behoove of someone to just say, I'll put 10 grand on that if it's 500 to 1 and then go out and streak?
Isn't that what happened last year?
Well, you got to get in the building, right?
Somebody, they showed him making the bet and they did it. Or a friend did it.
Yeah, and isn't it usually somebody that's wearing like a gambling site written on their back or something? I mean, that's happened before, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's call Tony Katz for this one, okay?
Okay.
For the streaker? What are you talking about?
Total points scored in the game or Joe Biden's approval rating on March 1st?
I think you got to go with the points on that, right?
Approval ratings usually hover slightly lower than 50%.
Correct.
Typically.
Probably 45, I'm guessing. 42, somewhere in there.
What is the over-under of the game? 47? 8? Do you know that, Mark?
I'll check right now.
I mean, it's got to be
48.5.
That's the over-under?
Mm-hmm.
I take the over on that.
The gender of the unauthorized person on the field, minus 500 for a male. Plus 300 for a female.
Yeah.
How many seconds will the unauthorized person be on the field?
Over under of 14, 15?
They've got some faith here, or maybe not a lot of faith in these SoFi security guards.
Let me ask you this. Does that the total time they're on the field or the total time they're on the field before apprehended?
I think it's before apprehended.
There's always some idiot, right? Where's Morgana when we need her?
There was a person ran on the field late in the Bills Chiefs, and there was another game. I felt like it was very late.
Bills Chiefs. Stephon Diggs is the one that took him down.
23 and a half seconds.
I'd like to know this. What is the penalty if you run on the field of an NFL game and you are apprehended? They never tell you what happens to the person after that. I assume you go to jail, right?
I think it's a night.
Do they actually book you, you think? And what is the fine?
I think
is it just a simple trespassing?
No, I think it's got to be more significant than that.
The guy who streaked during the Chiefs and Bucks Super Bowl, according to the Tampa Bay Times, received a 1 year of probation, required to complete 100 hours of community service, pay a $500 fine, and a written apology to the NFL. I'm sorry, Mr. Goodale, for ruining your Sunday.
Do you think that's on Commissioner Goodell's fridge at home?
Now, was he naked, though?
No. I mean, I'm looking at a picture. He had streaker. He was just on the field because he has shorts on. He's got a pink, leotard.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I do remember that.
So that fella got what again, Mark?
A year probation, 100 hours of community service, a $500 fine, and a written apology to the NFL.
Okay, so now what is the prop bet that you can do, Kevin?
The person on the field.
Yes.
Plus 250 for yes.
Okay.
Minus 400 for no.
Okay, now hold on. So we're gonna figure this out. Plus 250 for yes. Now, if you do it on, can you bet on the gender?
Yes, minus 500 for one of us, plus 300 for a female.
Okay. So let's say a female says, okay, I'm going to wager on this. Now, what's the maximum you can wager?
That's what I don't know.
Let's say you can do a maximum of
I would guess 1,000 would be the max.
Okay, so 1,000, right? So if a woman says, I'm going to wager $1,000.
But
right?
you got to get in the stadium. You know how much it's going to cost to get a ticket?
Hang on, bear with me. This is assuming you don't win a Jim Irsay contest. So if you bet the 1,000 and you at plus 250, that means that you would win. You're paying now your payout's $2,500, right? Now you get the gender at plus 300. You put 1,000 on that as well. So plus 300 means what? That you would pay out $3,000.
And the cheapest ticket's like $6,000 to get in the stadium.
Yeah, so you're profiting now. You're getting $5,500.
Plus, you're in section 650.
We got less the $500 fine. $500 fine, Mark.
$500. This is according to Florida. There are no laws in Florida, so probably a little less.
All you got to do is run out and say you're standing your ground. You're good to go, right?
Oh boy, I wasn't going there.
I'm just saying.
Highest number of Clydesdale horses shown at the same time.
In the ads?
Yeah.
4? What's the over-under?
Are they doing, wasn't last year there was no
spot? Plus
spots?
200. 8 or more is the favorite.
No.
At plus 100. That's interesting. They go with 8 or more as the heavy favorite, and then the next one is 4.
But that's, okay, that is so subjective. What if it's a side shot of them turning a corner and you're like, wait a minute, we can't actually see all 8 of them. You know what I mean?
I think just...
Is that one of the few ads they're not showing ahead of the Super Bowl?
If you have a hoof in the shot, it counts.
Kind of like on those. Do you guys freak out when you get those things that's like, click on all that include a stop sign?
Oh
wait a minute, this stop sign actually goes into this other square.
I'm like, how dumb am I that I can't figure this out?
I despise those things.
People are saying the Biden approval rating's a lot lower, so I don't know. Maybe
38%?
Maybe that over's going to hit by halftime.
You had to go there, didn't you? You had to go there.
Just think it's good to incorporate, us. We talk a lot of politics on the show.
That's right. That's right.
Pro Bowl, 6.7 million viewers, Jake. NBA All-Star Game, 5.9.
Yeah, but
NBA All-Star Game is much closer to realistic product than the NFL.
Although the NBA All-Star Game is also in the dead of winter, isn't it?
Yeah, but isn't the NBA All-Star Game is going to be next week, right? That's not different than the Pro Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. So, it's not like you can say, you said 6.7 for the Pro Bowl?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah. And I actually have you watched the NBA All-Star Game, with that Elam ending? It actually got
Biden
super
approval
competitive.
rating, by the way, 39%.
Oh, man. So that over-under of 48.5 for the game.
I think you got to go with the points on that.
I really like the longest field goal one. 47.5.
Who do we have on the line?
Trucker
Mark?
Rob, you got a prop bet for us?
Hey, Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Rob, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, been a long time since we talked, man. It was back when you were on the morning show years and years ago, right?
That is correct. I think you've called in the afternoons a couple times, but yes, for the most part, yes.
WIBC morning show?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, yep. He was there with Terry Stacy back in the day before the Tony Katz era, right?
That is correct.
No, what I wanted to tell you is I heard a friend of mine was telling me that there is a bet out there. I don't know what bet site it is, but he was telling me that there's a bet, if Joe Burrow wins the Super Bowl, that he'll light up a cigar on the field as he's holding the Vince Lombardi trophy.
I did see that one. That's got to happen, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if he, with all the coolness, and then, of course, he's being compared to, Broadway Joe, so...
And that's kind of that's kind of become his brand, right? I mean, that the whole cigar with LSU and then like in the locker room, it's kind of become his thing, right?
Right, yeah, in the locker room, but this guy was
No,
saying,
that's what I'm saying. Because it's become his thing, the ultimate is the Super Bowl, so you would think he does it right there while all eyes are on him. And what better thing to say I'm going to Disney World than while firing up a heater?
Yeah. Right? Yeah, exactly.
Kevin, if you were going to light up a stogie at the Super Bowl, what would you smoke?
God, I'm not a huge cigar guy. Someone was complaining yesterday that Burrow holds his cigar like people hold cigarettes. Like he doesn't hold it in the proper way. I'm like, geez, are we really going to get overly critical on Joe Burrow's cigar etiquette here?
Yeah, that seems a little much. I do think it's interesting that, and I get it, exceptions can be made for anything, but I think it's interesting that teams smoke cigars inside stadiums that are non-smoking or inside, like California's got to be like a non-public smoking venue, right?
Well, I mean, like, didn't Burrow have one in the Superdome locker room after the national title? Right.
That's what I mean. And like, but California, I mean, like,
does Cincinnati have a rich cigar history? Does he need to light up a, Rheingeist cigar? I don't know if they make.
That's a
cigars.
Good question, actually. I would go with Bolivar personally, but those are out of Havana, which...
Burrow strikes me as a guy that doesn't really care too much about...
Hoyo de Monterey, Excalibur #1.
Apparently he smokes La Flor Dominicana.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Those are Dominican.
Mm-hmm.
Lighter shade, Connecticut. You can get a Maduro. A Maduro wrapper on a cigar is the darker one, and people think that means it's richer, but actually it's a syrup that is put into a Connecticut shade leaf, which gives it the darker look, and then as it burns, it's slightly sweeter. I worked in a cigar store for 8 years.
I was going to say, I think the ashes from that is what they used to make Vegemite.
Vegemite's wonderful. Hardwick's Pipe and Tobacco, best job I've ever had. No offense to either of you.
I think I'm taking that Jamar Chase over 27.5.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
I mean, didn't he catch like a screen pass against the Chiefs and run for 60 yards?
That should be another one. Okay, how about this?
And you like the Stafford over the NASCAR Daytona 500 average speed?
I do. Okay, what about this one? Higher number. Give me who's the tight end for? Give me a tight end for either team.
Tyler Higbee.
Okay, higher number. Tyler Higbee's receiving yards or Jamar Chase's yards after catch.
Oh boy, that's getting a little deep into the weeds there.
And like,
I mean, Joe Biden's approval rating much more easier for people to understand. That's a good one.
I mean,
Higbee's gonna have 4 for 38,
right? And Jamar Chase could have, 108 yards receiving, of which 70 are after the catch, right?
So you guys both, I think, are down the Cincinnati path, both over the 48.5. It sounds like as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's going to be a high scoring affair. Although every time we say that, then it turns out to be like a 17-14 game.
Cincinnati's defense holds Kansas City to 3 points in the second half twice in the last month or so. You don't look at Cincinnati's defense and think that. So we'll throw some of those at Joe Wiz tomorrow there.
By the way, people tell me that the Simpsons correct score, that one's been debunked. It wasn't. Somebody said there was like a 2005 Simpsons episode where they predicted the Bengals and Rams in this year's Super Bowl and the Bengals winning 34-31. That's not accurate, but I already placed that bet anyway.
See, I've always thought when people are like, "Oh, the Simpsons did it again," I'm like, the Simpsons is still in production, so wouldn't the Simpsons writers and illustrators be able to come up with anything, put it out there, and say that it was from an episode 25 years ago and nobody would know the difference?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does anybody watch The Simpsons regularly anymore?
That's a good question. It's still on. I've never watched it.
Like never, ever.
I mean, I've seen it like to be honest with you, The Simpsons, because when I was in high school, it was on, when it kind of first started, it was on Sunday nights. So when The Simpsons would come on, usually it meant like football was done, 60 Minutes was up next, and it was just like, just depressed me. Kind of like the Saturday Night Live theme music depresses me because it basically means the weekend's over with. In terms of
I think
fun
people
stuff.
think 60 Minutes.
Well, 60 Minutes for sure, but I'm saying like, when the Saturday Night Live music comes on, it's Saturday Night Live, and it reminds me of like in high school, like dropping somebody off, and like, okay, well, I got to be home at midnight or whatever. So it meant like, okay, I got to get going now. I got to get home. It just, I don't know.
Will Lose Yourself be the final song of the halftime show?
He is. Eminem's doing it, obviously, right?
Dr. Dre, Kendrick Lamar,
no,
Mary J. Blige,
Snoop
right?
Dogg.
Snoop.
I would think that'd be the start.
See, I thought maybe the end of like the one shot, one opportunity. Here comes the second half.
Yeah,
they're gonna capture it or let it slip.
Go ahead.
I can go
Finish
the whole
the song. Go.
It is my favorite. Well, what Snoop? You think a Snoop song or a Dre song?
Yeah, I think still DRE or I mean they're in California, so California Love. That could be another
I was
one.
gonna say that's.
49ers came out with California Love a few years ago.
Well, California Love's Tupac, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but Dre was in it, so
right.
I'm sure they'll do a little tribute to Tupac as well.
Jake, what you're asking about Leonard Skinner earlier in the week. What will Cincinnati come out to?
The Bengals fight song. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the flatulent tiger, right? No question. I'm trying to think of
what is the rich Queen City music to?
Halle Berry?
Come out of the tunnel.
Halle Berry's a Cincinnatian, right?
Yeah, I'd be all right with that.
I was gonna say, yeah, that could be a nice little
the Ohio
halftime
Players
show guest. Here we go.
Here comes Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
And Aaron Donald's peeing down his leg after hearing this. I mean, the Rams can't come out to California Love like the 49ers can. I mean, hell, do they even support the Rams?
Did you see the Rams like fan party compared to the Bengals? The Bengals had like 30,000 people.
It looked like it was at a high school stadium.
Yeah. And
Was
even
that
then,
serious?
Yeah, because Diana Rossini was there. So thousands of fans are expected. She's like, well, maybe 500.
It looked like that Pacers Magic game from a few weeks ago when it was snowing.
Walk the Moon is from Cincinnati?
Oh, that could be pretty good.
I mean, obviously, people are going to... Nick Lachey, right? Isn't he a Cincinnatian?
Yeah.
Eddie Garrison says, welcome to the jungle.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's their song, right?
That makes sense.
I just Googled like bands from Cincinnati, and the second band that pops up is Ass Ponies.
Oh, boy. So that's what...
I'd like to see that, quite honestly.
Cincinnati always comes out to Guns N' Roses. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Shams. They probably don't want to come out to the Shams, right?
Boy, Ass Ponies, that could really...
What kind of music can we... Is that punk music? Do we know?
I better do a little
says, let's
dive
get ready
into
for the
that.
Super
Hold
Bowl
on.
like that.
They're an indie rock band based in Cincinnati. Can we find some of their music? Sure. Let me tell you what...
I need to make sure there's no swearing in
right,
it.
I understand. Oh, wait a minute. No, hold on. The vocalist has left the band to start a new band. Can I tell you the name of that one? I don't know if we can say this one on the air.
I got my finger on the dump button. Go ahead. Go nuts.
Hal says Halle Berry's Cleveland. She married David Justice, who was from Cincy.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, I knew she was in Ohio.
David Justice, the baseball player?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that Halle Berry was married.
You could say that, I think.
Are you sure?
Don't put another letter
Mark,
in front of it.
I'll let you do it. You can say the name of the new band that the guy that was in the Ass Ponies started.
I'm going to say this very slowly.
Okay.
If you say it, you might be parking in a very different spot.
That's the name of the band, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm not...
Wussy? I said with a W.
It's time for a Big O Tire Sports Center update here on Kevin and Query.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
What did I say a few
tomorrow
weeks ago? Well, what did I say a few weeks ago you both were taken aback by? I was describing the Titans or something.
There's a couple things that you've said that have taken me aback as of late.
You said something I don't recall.
Yeah, what was it?
I go home and sleep after the show and forget everything, and I can't wait to do that today.
There's something about like Mike Vrabel or the Titans. Speaking of that, we do need to talk about the Titans here a little bit later in the show. Their ownership actually rewarding them for success, unlike Jim Irsay with the Colts. But we'll talk about that in the final segment.
Okay. Notre Dame last night, 63-57 winners over Louisville in college basketball. The Irish now 10-3, alone atop the ACC, right?
Jake, there was maybe 200 people at that game. Pathetic the support for Notre Dame basketball, but that probably shouldn't shock anybody. Yeah, 10-3 right now. They have totally turned it around. They beat Kentucky at home in December. Played IU kind of tough at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, but really have played well in the ACC outside of getting blasted by Duke. So, what do you think? 3 teams from the state get in the tournament?
Indiana, Purdue. Indiana's still in, but they're trying their hardest. Indiana, Purdue, Notre Dame. That's probably it, right?
You feel good about that right now if you're going to make that bet, or you think Indiana, Notre Dame? You don't know if you want to make that bet.
No, I think they're okay. I think they're both. When you look at the teams that are like right on the bubble, you're like, come on.
I mean the bubble again. The bubble's weak. It's weak every year.
Right.
There's 60. If you can't make the NCAA tournament, it is a poor season for you. Like 68 teams is a lot.
Sacramento Kings last night, 132-119 winners over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Domas Sabonis had 22 points, 14 boards. Also, pretty good performance from Jeremy Lamb. What do you have, 14?
Yeah, Kevin. Coming off the bench, Justin Holiday started along with Sabonis there. Karis LeVert came off the bench for Cleveland, struggled a little bit from the floor, 4 for 11 points. Does it surprise you at all? The Pacers will get back to practice here in a couple hours, Jake, so that's the debuts for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. Like, there seems to be some chatter that Tristan Thompson might not just be the obvious buyout guy. Like, he might play for the Pacers?
I mean...
Why? Play the young guys.
Well, yeah, I get that. I do
Tristan Thompson doesn't want a beer.
You don't think so? He had a Louis Vuitton diaper bag with him. Did you see that?
Did he? I assume he had a young baby or infant with him as well?
He has a few children, right?
I believe so. Not sure if he, maybe not all under the same roof, but yeah. He's juggling a lot of things, I think, off the court right now, Tristan Thompson. Nice, whatever, rotational big guy, but give the minutes to Goga, give the minutes to Isaiah Jackson.
I mean, he's had a nice rotation, too, Tristan Thompson, if that's what...
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Cleveland Cavaliers last night, 105-92 over the Spurs. Karis LeVert played in that game, right, Kev?
Yeah, 11 points. I did say that, Jake.
Oh, you did? Sorry.
Yeah.
I was actually looking up where Halle Berry was from, and that led to Google Images.
Oh, boy.
I was slightly sidetracked.
Jeez, that's search history.
we have a meeting later today, and I have a feeling David's probably going to have several bones to pick with us over the course of the last hour of the show.
You guys didn't play any ass ponies. What's going on here?
Have a Lime scooter and drive that to work tomorrow instead of parking in the basement.
You know that when I become mayor, those scooters are all going in the White River, right?
There's already a couple in there, I think.
Yeah, you're right. It was going to be the blue Indy cars, and that took care of itself. We're taking back our parking spots.
Tonight, 9 o'clock, the Boilers in Ann Arbor take on the Wolverines, favored by 3. Obviously, a quick turnaround for Purdue, quick turnaround for Michigan as well. They were on the road Tuesday at Penn State. Here was Matt Painter earlier in the week talking about playing Michigan twice in 5 days.
Yeah, well, it's the same for both teams. We both played the night. We both had a 9 o'clock start. They got to fly back right now and get back to campus. We got to fly there tomorrow. So it'll be the same for both teams. And, it was... a possession game here. It could have went either way. We were fortunate enough to get a couple stops. They were careless one time with the basketball and didn't complete a play. We deflected one and got it back, made our free throws. But it was really a possession game. So we got the utmost respect for them, and we know it's going to be a tough game.
I think the challenge here tonight, Jake, is just a little bit of an NCAA tournament feel, 2 games in 48 hours, and then also this is why you have the depth that Purdue has. Ethan Morton, Caleb First, huge minutes for them in the first half the other night. Michigan had, I think, 4 of their 5 starters play over 30 minutes on Tuesday. Purdue didn't have that. So, can you rely 1 to 8, 1 to 9, even 1 to 10, and, kind of wear a team down on the second night of, 2 and 3 nights?
Okay. Joe Koppel points out from Cincinnati, and I want you guys to tell me, because Joe's a hip dude, I'm not saying I am. I'm not familiar with this band. Pure Prairie League?
No.
Whew. In one ear, out the other.
They are also from Cincinnati.
Say that again?
Pure Prairie League.
Boy.
Bootsy Collins is
country rock band whose origins go back to 1965.
That sounds like the music you want to listen to get ready for the Super Bowl.
I'm just saying.
You said Walk the Moon?
Yeah, they're not bad.
you go Shut Up and Dance with Me and run out of the tunnel. I mean, your fans will. But, I mean, it's going to be Welcome to the Jungle, right?
I would think it's got. I mean, that's what they play at every game, for sure. Have we checked on Scotty? Do we know what's going on here?
He might have parked in your spot.
Yeah, that was him. Stop giving hints to my pop quiz.
It is pop quiz time. 317-239-1070. Looks like a good amount of NBA to start things off, and then we'll get into some Super Bowl questions to cap the pop quiz. Give us a call, 317-239-1070. Jiffy Lube prize pack up for grabs.
Join 93.1 WIBC right down the dial as the Indiana University Hoosiers take on the Michigan State Spartans this Saturday. Pregame starts at 2:30 p.m. with a 3:30 opening tip.
Make this the winter of you with Audible. Listen to the latest thrillers, motivation, wellness, and more with podcasts, audiobooks, and originals all in one app. Sign up and start free at audible.com.
Gorgeous gaming, stunning streams, unbelievable bandwidth. It's another Lifestyles of Gagillionaires. Meet the AT&T Fiber customers winning at life with hyper gig speeds. Meet Gagillionaire Terry. While his love of streaming horror movies has him constantly on the edge of his seat, his internet bill won't give him a scare.
Oh, don't go in there. I'm telling you.
Because since Terry upgraded to AT&T Fiber with hyper gig speeds, he doesn't worry about data caps or equipment fees.
Come on, man. The door's open for a reason.
And best yet, he also doesn't stress about a price increase at 12 months, because with the amazing Gagillionaire lifestyle comes an exquisite sense of tranquility. Most of the time. Live like a Gagillionaire. Get straightforward pricing with AT&T Fiber. Internet that upgrades everything. No data caps, no equipment fees, and no price increase at 12 months.
Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
Jake has to turn on the ass ponies for a second. We're going to try this for a third time. The NFL season all comes down to
Mark.
The NFL season all comes down to this: Super Bowl 56 with the Rams taking on the Bengals. To celebrate, FanDuel is hooking all customers up with a risk-free same-game parlay. New and existing customers can place any same-game parlay of 3 legs or more on the Super Bowl, and if you don't win, FanDuel will refund you. Same-game parlays combine multiple bets from the same game into one wager for bigger payouts. Build your parlay with spreads, money lines, totals, Super Bowl props, and more. Let's take a look. Right here, I got the Bengals at plus 7.5 on an alternate spread. Joe Mixon over 70 yards rushing. Cooper Kupp 90 yards receiving. Jamar Chase 60 yards receiving. And Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase's anytime touchdown scores. A $10 bet if that all hits will pay out over $150. Make your same game parlay any way you want. That's why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. They have fun promotions like this one. Plus, the app is safe, secure, and easy to use. And when you win, you get paid in as little as 2 hours. If you already have an account, just place your risk-free same-game parlay before the Super Bowl to qualify. And for new customers, join today with promo code MARK to enjoy 56-1 odds on either team to win the game. You can turn a $5 bet into $280 cash with promo code MARK in the FanDuel Sportsbook app, MARC. 21 and over and present in Indiana. Refund issued is now a drawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Damn it, I almost made it. Gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
When it comes to working at Geico, our best advocates are our employees, like Janet. But since she is so focused on growing her career, we hired an actor to read her story.
At Geico, we really help each other. If anything comes up, we work through it as a group, so we all learn.
As a full-time employee, she can also get paid benefits like medical, dental, vision, and parental leave. She even got a plaque for her desk that says, "I'm kind of a big deal." Yeah, you are, Janet.
Ready to start your career, Indy? We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.jobs/Indy.
Now through February 16th, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for zero enrollment and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, Mr. I can't sleep at night, so I keep dozing off during the day.
Especially you, Snoozy. You'll rest easier and feel fit-tacular.
Wait, how did you get in here?
Join in club or at planetfitness.com. Zero enrollment, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends February 16th. See club for details.
Breaking news.
The end of the Turbonis era.
Sabonis gone.
This is what it's like.
Lamb gone.
To blow up a team.
Holiday gone.
But the jewel of this was Tyrese Halliburton.
How could you get rid of Halliburton if you're a Kings fan?
I saw that.
If you're talking about it.
All right, you're asking me for my opinion. Here it is.
We're talking about it.
Halliburton.
Very good defender, very good three-point shooter.
Your home for Indy sports. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
It's Pop Quiz time here on Kevin and Query. A number, Jake, 1 through 8.
I will go with the number 1 because the song I just heard by the Ass Ponies was the first I've ever heard. So I'll go with number 1.
You said it wasn't too bad, right?
Yeah, for a song from the Ass Ponies, I expected a lot worse.
Actually, the music's not bad. The lead singer, not the best, right?
Who we got, Mark, on number 1?
We've got Barry.
Barry!
Hello.
How we doing, Barry?
Good. How about yourself?
Good.
Barry, you sound like a nice fella. Are you a native of Indianapolis?
I am.
Can we do a little thing I do every once in a while called Get to Know Your Listener? We've had rave reviews about this. The boss, we have to meet with him later today. He likes when we do these things. Can we do that with you real quick?
Super duper.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, Barry. If you don't mind me asking, Barry, who was the president of the United States in your senior year of high school?
My senior year, Bush Jr.
The second Bush, okay? And then, Barry, in your senior year of high school, the arch rival of your high school was who? How, okay. Are you a Tech Titan?
I am not.
Are you a Beech Grove Hornet?
I am not.
Are you a Cecina Crusader?
Billy Keller.
Washington, are they the Continentals? Is that what they are?
Yes.
Yeah, so you went to Washington, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the hint, Barry. I appreciate that.
Barry,
okay.
What year did you graduate high school? I feel like we're similar age.
Well, I didn't technically graduate, but I would have been class of 06.
Right, okay.
2008.
And then, Barry, lastly, currently, are you working today? Are you hanging out today? What do we catch you doing today?
Yes, I am at work, but I am, like, my job is pretty chill. I drive semis, but...
Oh, that's my dream job, Barry. Are you an over-the-road guy or just, like, within the city here?
Yeah, within the city. I'm local. I got 2 young kids. I'm not trying to, go over the road for long periods of time quite yet.
Do you have a CB?
I got an A.
Okay. Whoa. Now, do you have a handle? Like when you were on the radio, do you have a handle to people? Like Breaker 19, that kind of thing?
No, I don't.
Okay. We can play Convoy next from the Ass Ponies, Mark, if you don't mind.
Rusty nail.
Okay, Barry, would you like for myself or Kevin to lead you? And thank you for participating in our survey. Would you like for myself or Kevin to lead you off with question number 1?
Let's go with you, man.
Okay. Barry, you sound like a nice guy, so I will include a hint here in question number 1. On this day in 1985, the NBA All-Star Game was played at the Hoosier Dome. I remember it very well, by the way. The MVP of that 1985 All-Star Game also happened to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was getting ready for his junior year at Virginia just before his team was stunned by Chaminade. Was that player A, Larry Bird, B, Ralph Sampson, C, Magic Johnson, or D, Isaiah Thomas?
Oh, Ralph Sampson.
Okay.
All right, Barry, number 2, DeMar DeRozan scored 36 in the Bulls' win over the Hornets last night. DeRozan has scored 361 points over the Bulls' last 11 games. He's just the third Chicago Bull to score that many points over an 11-game span. MJ did it many times, of course. Who is the other Bull to score at least 361 points in an 11-game stretch? What a stat Scotty's pulled out of here. A, Bob Love, B, Derrick Rose, C, Scottie Pippen, or D, his teammate, DeRozan's teammate, Zach LaVine?
I feel like that's a trick question. You would think it would be Derrick Rose. I'm going to go Zach LaVine.
You are smart.
Okay.
Smart.
Matthew Stafford has started 182 regular season NFL games, the most for a quarterback making his first start in Super Bowl history. Whose record that went to the same university is he breaking? A, Rich Gannon, B, Johnny Unitas, C, Fran Tarkenton, or D, Kenny Anderson?
D.
Kenny Anderson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't he play basketball at Georgia Tech?
Kenny Anderson, he did, and for the Pacers, for that matter.
Sean
From
McVay.
Archbishop Malloy High School in New York City.
36 years old, Sean McVay and Zach Taylor at 38 are the two youngest head coaches to meet in a Super Bowl. Didn't Zach Taylor come from Sean McVay's coaching staff at one point? Who held the old record for the youngest combined age of Super Bowl head coaches? Mike Tomlin and Ken Wisenhunt, John Gruden and Bill Callahan, John Madden and Bud Grant, Mike McCarthy and Mike Tomlin.
Ooh, let's go with the last one.
Okay. Last question. Von Miller is the only... Now, hang on. Eric Wonenberg sent an email, and it flashed across, and I can't read the rest. Okay. Von Miller is the only former Super Bowl MVP participating in Sunday's Super Bowl. He had 2.5 sacks against Carolina in Super Bowl 50. Who holds the record for the most career sacks in Super Bowl history? Is it, and let me tell you something, each time he did it, it was like a comet was coming through. A, Reggie White, B, Teddy Bruschi, C, Charles Haley, or D, Justin Tuck?
Charles Haley.
Okay.
Barry, excellent listener, Barry. Excellent
Scotty
listener,
was
along
pacing.
with driving semis. All right, this day
I
in
like the fact that
1985.
Barry has 2 young kids, and as a result, he's dedicated to being around the family. Sounds like a nice fella.
Oh, exactly. I appreciate him making time as well to call in. 1985, the NBA All-Star Game here at the Hoosier Dome. Jake, the MVP, he said Ralph Sampson.
Is correct. Ralph Sampson, who, by the way, was suspended, if I'm not mistaken, for a game in the NBA Finals for decking Jerry Seasting.
Michael Jordan, DeMar DeRozan, 361 points in 11 straight games for the Bulls. The other Bull that's accomplished that feat, it was indeed Zach LaVine.
That is correct.
Matt Stafford breaks the record for most starts before your first Super Bowl. Stafford, of course, played collegiately at
Georgia.
That is correct. Rich Gannon, I'm not even certain where Rich Gannon played collegiately.
Yeah, he's
Delaware.
in Delaware.
Oh, I should have known that. Yeah, he and Joe Flacco both. Johnny Unitas played at Louisville, right? Ken Anderson at Augustana. Fran Tarkenton played at Georgia.
You blew it!
You don't get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're a complete loser.
Which one of you guys wants to lick the knife?
I was going to have to fist pound myself there.
Okay. You did lick the Vegemite off the knife, did
I
you
did.
not, Mark?
Yep.
Mike Tomlin and Ken Wisenhunt were the youngest coaching duo in Super Bowl history, and Charles Haley, with 4.5 sacks, was the correct answer for the final
Vegemite
question.
brain. Alive and well.
Uh-huh. Okay. Did we get the ass ponies, Mark? Do
We'll
have
get that coming back. That'll be our rejoinder. We'll wrap the show with the ass ponies. How about that one?
Okay. And they're not terrible, right?
No, not
All
from the
right.
10 seconds I heard.
All right.
I forgot Von Miller. How many 2-time Super Bowl MVPs ever on the defensive side of the ball? Has that ever happened?
No, because there've only been, Woodson was a Super Bowl MVP, was he not? Larry Brown.
7, you said, defensive MVP?
Charles Haley, Jake Scott. Just a handful.
Von Miller could
Now, I will
certainly
tell
do
you,
that.
there are like 10 different defensive players that if they win Super Bowl MVP, I win like $3,000.
You got to got good odds for Von Miller. Did you bet on Von?
I think I did put down Von Miller. Let me look and see. If Von Miller... I wouldn't think the odds for Von Miller would be outrageous, though, right?
Well, I mean, Stafford and Burrow have overwhelming odds, so I think you would get decent. I mean, you probably got to put a little bit more money on him than, Michael Scott or whoever else you bet on.
Okay, if Von Miller, let's see, did I put Nick Scott? I had, by the way. I know I have it on Von Miller. Wait, did I not put down Von Miller? Oh, wait a minute. Tyler Boyd? No, I need to put it on Von Miller. Yeah.
But what are his odds?
Oh, wait a minute. I have. Okay, hang on. I do have Matt Stafford, Joe Burrow, Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald, Jamar Chase, Odell Beckham. I don't have Von Miller. Here we go.
What are Donald's odds? I mean, they got to be similar.
Donald's odds are, stand by, I know this is terrible radio when I'm looking. His odds are 17-1.
So, yeah, you got to put a little bit more money on.
I mean,
Him
just
or
so
Von
people know,
Miller.
I'm doing all of these at like $2 each.
Boo! That's what people, people want to see you spend a little bit more
than
that. All right, Kevin and Corey, we come back. We'll get into, we were talking about it a little bit earlier. The Titans did something with their head coach and GM that I think merited what they did, unlike what Jim Irsay did with his head coach and GM earlier last year now. We'll talk about that next. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
It's hard to believe that in 1972, fewer than 300,000 girls played high school sports in the U.S.
It's true. Today, more than 3 million girls play high school sports, and it's all thanks to Title IX.
When Title IX passed 50 years ago, it created a level playing field for women and girls in high school athletic programs. I'm Sandra Walter, a proud Brookville Greyhound.
And I'm Carrie Rosati, a proud Roncalli Royal. We're both assistant commissioners of the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
We're also former athletic directors, so we understand the impact that high school sports have on the lives of teenage girls.
And how Title IX has paved the way for generations of female student athletes across the country, including right here in Indiana.
Playing high school sports opens doors for girls on the playing field and beyond.
We're both living proof that when girls are given the chance to play, they're given the chance to thrive.
This is empowerment. This is opportunity. This is your IHSAA.
Switch to Spectrum Mobile and get unlimited data for only $29.99 per month each when you get 2 or more lines. You could save hundreds on your mobile bill. Plus, there are no added taxes, hidden fees, and no contracts. Try the Spectrum Mobile Savings Calculator today, and in 3 easy steps, you'll see how much you could save. Visit SpectrumMobile.com/save. Offer valid for new customers on 2 or more unlimited lines. Spectrum Internet required. Restrictions apply. Visit SpectrumMobile.com for details.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook wants you to experience Rush Pay. When you want to cash out your winnings, you don't want to wait 2 days just to get the go-ahead to withdraw your money. That's why Bet Rivers created Rush Pay. With Rush Pay, 80% of withdrawal requests are approved instantly, meaning you'll get your money faster. Why wait? Get your cash when you want it. Bet with a winner. Bet with Bet Rivers Sportsbook at betrivers.com. Must be 21 and located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
Hi, this is Ted Bishop, PGA General Manager at the Legends Golf Club in Franklin. This year, we are celebrating our 30th anniversary of being in business, and I want to personally invite you to become a member at our course, which was selected as the 2021 Indiana Golf Course of the Year. We are offering a limited number of 2-year Monday through Friday memberships starting at $199 a year. Yep, you heard it right, only $199 a year, and you can upgrade to a 7-day membership for only $50 per year more. If you ride, you just pay for the golf cart, and if you walk, there's no additional charge. These memberships will expire on December 31 of 2023. Legends has 27 Fazio Design Championship holes. Our regular players will tell you that we are known for great playing conditions and a friendly staff. Join the Legends Golf Club today. Don't delay, because limited spots are available. Call 317-736-8186 or buy online at thelegendsgolfclub.com. And I'll see you on the first tee.
Do you hold a Class B CDL and want to earn competitive pay plus be home every night? Know someone else with a Class B CDL? Irving Materials Inc. is hiring full-time ready-mix concrete drivers at $26 per hour. Great pay, daily overtime, and excellent health benefits. You should apply at IMI's Job Fair this Thursday, February 10th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn Northwest. For more information, all Class B CDLs should go to driveimi.com. That's DRIVEIMI.com. DriveIMI.com.
Big Red Liquor celebrating 50 years in business with big sales all year. Kicking off with the February Super Sale. 20% off 3 bottles of wine or spirits. Mix and match. Stock up big for Valentine's, the big game, and beyond. All month long. 20% off. Mix and match. Only at Big Red Liquors.
North Carolina hosts Florida State in ACC hoops action. Saturday at 1:45 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
What do we got here? We've got the Ass Ponies bringing you Little Bastard.
Okay. All right.
That's the name of the song.
You couldn't have picked any of their other hits?
This is the one that I looked. I said, that was the first song that popped up, and it has clean lyrics, so it's okay to go.
We're dropping to 26 in the mid-market rankings as we speak.
Get the Vegemite. Let's get back up there.
Okay. Which would you say is more suitable to your palate, Mark Dykton? This music or the Vegemite?
Oh, God. I mean, I guess the option of having to have Vegemite on my tongue the rest of the day again, right. I guess I'll have to go with the Ass Ponies, Jake.
On repeat.
Give me the Ass Ponies.
Not even a debate for me. I mean, I felt the salt in my throat until 5 p.m.
You know, really, if you think about it, the name of the band, it just means ponies of that kind of horse, right? Like, you're getting your mind out of the gutter here. Yeah. It's just like calling it like the Jackass Ponies. Like, that's a type of equine, and it's just a pony. It's just a younger version of it.
It's an interesting name. Certainly
a solid band name in my better than Hoobastank.
Tracks the attention. That's what the Bengals, maybe when they win this, Super Bowl on Sunday, that's what they'll be playing in their locker room. Joe Burrow lighting up a cigar to the Ass Ponies.
I actually wonder if there's anybody from Indy that will drive down to Cincinnati for the Super Bowl just to go to a bar and hang out.
Well, you got to get down there early, right? Carve out some space.
I mean, it's going to be... There is one bar... What was the bar that you mentioned that you went to your bachelor party, or you went to a bachelor party there?
The Holy Grail.
Yeah. There's another bar... I don't know the name of it. I know it's... I've gone to Reds games. There's a bar that's underneath the overpass. You know what I'm talking about?
Underneath the overpass.
Like, just to the east of the stadiums, there's... like where the old arena was, there's the interstate that passes over there, and there's a bar underneath it. It's called, let me see the name of the bar. Hang on. The name of it relates to the fact, maybe it's not Dugout, but something like that.
Well, Dugout's over here, Fountain Square.
Right. No, I knew that.
I mentioned this earlier. The Tennessee Titans handed out contract extensions to Mike Vrabel and John Robinson yesterday. Robinson being their general manager. That, to me, is an extension that became of actual high-quality results, whereas Jim Irsay just hands out an extension for mediocrity. The Titans under that duo, and it's kind of similar. Robinson was hired before Vrabel, like Ballard was hired before Frank Reich here. The Titans have had no losing seasons, 2 division titles, 3 playoff appearances. The last 3 years, they finished 6th, 4th, and 1st. In the AFC, whereas the Colts, 0 division titles, 1 playoff appearance, finishing 10th, 7th, and 8th, and yet their duo also gets contract extensions.
So So give me again what Vrabel and the boys got and gals.
Extended. I'm not sure if it was as long. I'd have to look up the years, but they got contract extensions yesterday. See if I can look up how long it was.
Did you see that Ryan Grigson got a new job?
I did see that, yeah. Was he senior advisor with the Vikings?
Yeah, and I believe the gentleman that he is going with was with him in Cleveland, right? And they've got a history with one another?
Yeah, I think there was some overlap there. Yeah, so Grigson was in Cleveland. Where has he been? Seattle, Cleveland? And now Minnesota. I can't find the how long these contract extensions were for. Maybe they didn't announce that. But nonetheless, again, I just think back to last year, started training camp, Jake, and the contract extensions for Chris Ballard and Frank Reich were given. Why? And Tennessee is clearly doing this, rewarding. Tennessee has had high-level success, and the Colts have had mid-level consistency.
It's interesting that Jim Irsay has that same approach. I guess maybe he's a loyalty guy, but after the whole Chuck Pagano, Ryan Grigson attached at the hip, 11th hour, like tears were shed. You remember that? I mean, when people were like, one of these two is gone, right? And then
it was I was there at 10:30 on a Monday night.
Tears were shed, and we locked in a room and worked it out.
Yeah, kumbaya and lit candles. And
yeah, it was like, whoa, wait a minute, really? That's what we're doing? Okay.
It's just that word accountability that we frequently hear. To me, what Tennessee has done in giving, has Tennessee had great playoff success? No, they've obviously had more than the Colts. Lost Derrick Henry for half the year and still number one overall seed in the AFC. That is rewarding actual results, whereas the Colts, it's rewarding hope, belief. I don't know what you were necessarily rewarding with Chris Ballard and Frank Reich before the start of last year.
Do you think, on a scale of 1 to 10, you would grade Chris Ballard how? If A to F. A to F, you would grade him how?
C plus B minus.
Okay, that's fair. Frank Reich, you would grade how?
Probably somewhat similar, maybe a hair higher, but the Carson Wentz thing is really going to impact. I mean, the Carson Wentz thing is Frank Reich's final, and it's a heavily weighted final.
That is correct. I would agree with you.
And so far, he's taken, whatever, half the final and hasn't gone very well.
It's his midterm. I don't know if it's his final because...
Right.
But it's his midterm for certain.
Yeah.
But
again, could be his final.
I go back to, Kevin, I do not know this, okay? But I have very strong belief that Jim Irsay was not sold on Carson Wentz. Chris Ballard was not sold on Carson Wentz. Frank Reich sold them. And I'm not saying that Frank Reich walked in and said, guys, this is who we have to have. But when they were evaluating and assessing things, they said, Frank, what do you think? And he said, I think we should go with this guy. I can wake him up and reawaken it. And so they passed on the pursuit of Matthew Stafford, for example, and they pushed all chips in on Carson Wentz, and it blew up on him. And I think that there's going to be resentment towards Frank Reich for that.
Again, though, Chris Ballard staunchly against the idea of Matthew Stafford. I don't want people to think that it was Irsay and Ballard are sitting here saying, what about Stafford? What about Stafford? And Frank saying, no, Wentz.
Right.
Trust me, Ballard especially was not.
So to be fair,
in that camp.
If Stafford was not somebody that Ballard wanted, who would have been their option?
Then you would have been scrambling. That's where you probably look towards the draft, which would have taken something significant.
I mean, if not Carson Wentz or Stafford, right?
Is it a stopgap of a Nick Foles and then you go all in the draft?
Nick Foles is the name that people always throw around, right?
Yeah.
Even now, people are...
He's still under contract for another year, so you can get Andy Dalton easier than you get Nick Foles.
Love that.
One of our listeners want to know, with Ryan Grigson getting another front office job, is he going to be a GM again in the NFL?
I'd be surprised.
I would
too. Same here.
I'd be surprised. Some retread GMs are a lot less likely than retread head coaches.
I would also be surprised.
NFL honors tonight the year MVP, Aaron Rodgers.
Boo.
Here's the thing. Rodgers had a remarkable season on the field. There's no doubt about that. You could make the argument that if you were the most valuable player, it means that you've done everything to make sure that you're available within your control to make yourself available to your team all the time. Look, Jonathan Taylor, I realize that because of the postseason, that kind of fell off a little bit, but he's got to be in the conversation. But I would say that Rodgers is probably who gets it. Yes.
Rodgers wins it. Brady runner-up. I'll be curious to see if it's Cooper Kupp or Jonathan Taylor for offensive
player of the year. So people know this was voted during the regular season about the regular season.
At the end of the regular season there. I'm assuming TJ Watt, defensive player of the year, and then probably Zach Taylor or Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel for coach of the year. Again, losing Henry for half the year and still being the number one overall seed. That's probably where it'll go. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Reggie Wayne, does he get inducted? We'll chat about that as well. And Purdue and Michigan. Look ahead to the Pacers and the debut of Tyrese Haliburton. See you tomorrow, 7 a.m.